She got £50, I'm afraid.
She weighed 1,000.
Suck on a mama. Suck on a mother. Fuck off. Yo, gatekeeper, play me blood clot, yo.
Suck your mother 1,000,000 times.
Depressed music. Oh Lord, Trauma made another one. DA got no hope.
Depression took it to 10.
Yo Pierre, you wanna cry out here?
When I was a young boy,
You don't have future here. You don't have future. You can never make it. You're supposed to be a dinner man, serving dinner to the students in the secondary school. Because you cannot do basic 1+1. You are here breathing heavy like a dog. Think about your life. You are a failure. You are a failure. You can never make it. You know you cannot make it. You need to be cutting grass, making this place fresh for the actual footballers that want to use this place. You are tired, you are here. What have you done? Useless. Me with my pregnancy, I'm better than you. Idiot.
February, March, April, May, July, September, October, November, Sunday, March, April, May, July, October, January, February.
Give me wife, give me children, give me this, give me that, kill my enemy, kill my enemy, kill my enemy, give me, kill my enemy, give me. Anyone that doesn't want me to succeed, die by fire, die by fire, die by fire, die by fire, die by fire. Give me this, give me that, kill my enemy, give me that, give me this, give me, die by fire, die by fire, die by fire, die by fire, give me.
If it's me, your mother, you get a scar on your chest like Saga. She fighting, that's something about that. My thing working. Come through in a beat up Honda. Give one the 100 slap like Yonda. Give it the mic and I'm ride the rhythm, cause I spit the fire just like that was him. I'm a Liverpool invader, climbing to the top just like Vega. UV me, nobody can save ya. On the mic, man, I way too major. Shocking them keys like Blanca. I got money in the bank, I'm a banker. You got money in the... Look, quick with the hooks like bullrock. Get the razor jumping like a bullfrog. I've been doing it for more than a while. In the game, I'm a soldier like Gaio. So, cause they're big like Zangief. Dope when you get ever try it. Now you don't wanna get into no big man beef. I'm here, if you want the lyrical. I'm the guy son. Sucking the prestige like a dice. I'm like a big man if you wanna come on. If it's me.
Top with a thing in your face like what did he say? Yo, I know why I never got the award, cause I'm still putting man up in a hospital ward. If I pull up in a Honda Accord, long clip teeth so big enough to floss with a sword. I don't know why they wanted to. Yeah. I know why I never got the award, cause I'm still putting man up in a hospital ward. If I pull up in a Honda Accord, long clip teeth so big enough to floss with a sword. Don't know why they wanted the war. I ball out with hooligans, scrapping at home and abroad. You went there, you was home with your broad. Tell him I ain't messing when I'm chefing this beef with the rams, couldn't handle the sauce. Big boy set surrounded by 20 dead MCs, feeling like I'm trapped in a morgue. Turning to a corpse, sperm and alive with a fantastic four. Would you expect when you man gas up a torch? Sets on my own mic, on my left blade, on my right, never ever got my back to the door. Luke Skywalks when I come man with force. You don't want me battering. Grab a snake and rattle it. Inspiring so many shows from the top, the ground looks like a gravel pit. Wanna see what I got till I unravel it. Look how they starring babbling it. You and I'm backing it. When it gets messy, they don't tackle it. Take who's chain aboard, you ain't having it. Never caught that lamb, but came you're trapping it. Fool, it's not that in it. You ain't got the belly, you're grabbing it. If I left the money, you're grabbing it. Snakeboard MC. You been in the ground for years with that stacking it. Every year attacking it, that's why I'm busy. Summer after summer, you man know I'm busy. They don't know Dylan. So every MC that I span knows what it's. Yo, live on the.
Yo. Been a hot girl from Paul's Boutique and a six-side part in my rolled up skirt. I pass round in no industry, your favorite MC gets swerved like Tub. There she thinks she can chat for me, you ain't even a freak, you're just a little dirt. Come against me, you must be absurd, like I'm the hottest chick in here, no jerk. Who better you for suck, your mother them coulda never reached Big B more thorough. I just wanna ball like I need more gala, or should I be a wife like I need a more seller? We were outside, you was not outside, you snapped the wheel, that is not your right. Said he wants me to be his ride or die, but I'm just a girl, I am not your wife. Raised in the era of Gully and Gaza, so you know me, I could just switch it, reverse and flip it. Thinks that she bad, them girl are just timid. I'm not just bad, me, I'm coming on wicked. But you knew that already. My friend them few, I don't roll with many. I don't trust nice man, but I still love Temmie. Just said hi and I gave him a nasty with it. I got crafty lips, where I fuck up the beat, I get archy with it. I can back my chat like yes, I said it. I got the juice, I'm too acidic. Why does my man think he's the shit? I've saved his name as weirdo, don't pick. He hits women, you call that a bitch. I'm real from my forehead down to my. Them girl have a new friend every week. I can't trust it if we ain't 10 years deep. I don't want your man, I heard he's a creep. Them man, the pictures of feet. Fine babes don't hate, and the hating bitches ain't fine. If he ain't giving me his die one time, I swear that nigga ain't mine. Trust me. Yo, I'm like, trust me. Yo, I'm live, and I just done did it. Do the dance, Mickey bounce with it. I'm live, and I just done did it. Do the dance, Mickey bounce with it. We're live, and we just done did it.
Out to the ladies. Beat settings, infinity. Okay, the birthday gang. Okay, Shannon. Out to Amber. I am a money maker, hand to the edge of a money maker. For one time, you're a money maker. If you're on this train, money maker. Hand to the air, money maker. For one time, money maker. On this train, money maker. You see us terminal. You see me. You see me. I ain't watching you, ain't watching her, ain't watching him. I got to dance and bubble and sing. Terminal forward and terminal quick. Terminal forward and power goes. When you come to my house, just respect my house. Open my house, to the house. When you come to my house, just respect my house. Blood clots over them. What's wrong with it? What's wrong with it? Hold on, hold on. I'm like, no. I'm like, yeah. Hey, sleep, hold on. Hey, wiggy, hold on. I'm like, no. I'm like, yeah. Can I please have your attention? I said this is the captain's weekend, and I'm in the terminal 4. Can I please have your attention? Early.
Whenever you're around, you know how I do.
I'm on cheese, Louis, Sharice, all of them girl live. Oh God, what you telling me? Yeah, man, this G block in the place that's smelling me. Lord, got the crow on me and they smelling me. Lord. Don't inform to the police, don't tell them. Lord. Yeah, man, so walk on, man, what you telling me? It's just jumping this bitch. Yo, hey, listen though, yeah? The evening shows are getting a big cut, man. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do the late evening shows again now, still, man. So, yeah, I'm not too sure we're going to do it now, still, man. A quick one in the morning. And then a drive time. But yeah, once I pull up, boy, it's off. Yeah, I got too much to do now, you get me? Yeah. Ah, man. Hey, big up the people them in the place. What you saying? Oh, go on. Alright, let me start the register while it's short, innit? Yeah? Hey, it's getting weird around there, like. Trust me. You saying it's just bare man praying. You hear me? And them I pray. People think them I pray. Man. Alright. Hey, we say wait, hold on a sec. Hold on. You saying there's 20 people watching, but 3 people typing. Oh shit. Yeah, that's actually funny still. Fucking thing, man. This button thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, mate, can you hear the haters sing? No, no. Can you hear the haters sing? I can't hear a fucking thing. Oh, man. Jeez. All right. So shout out, man, like Adam S, you know. Yo. Oh, God. What you saying? Animal Rush Tree. There. Did that. How you mean? Hey. Man like ghosts, you know. There you are. Alright. That's the quick register, man. But I'll tell you what, actually, let me slap the link out now, yeah? Because, like I said, once I pull up, I gotta lock it, man. Too much going on right now. What's going on with this fucking map, man? Stay on. Yeah, alright. Let me quickly slap the link in the chat real fast. Search. On search. Alright. Yeah, man, so. Boy. If you don't know, you'll get to know in it by the end of the week. That the evening, nighttime, later down shows is just to literally drive until we get to the yard. And then we're done, innit? Because, you know, Lord, we can't take it no more. Not really. I'm too busy still. Yeah? We got too much to do now still, man, you know? You know, I even said too much yesterday still, but you know, wow. And you know what it is, yeah? This place is full of haters, cuz. Yo, one bag of haters out here, cuz, man. So, you know, you have to take time. You hear me, cuz? Trust me. Yeah. Take time in it, man. Don't let anyone know any of your business out here. Jeez, man, like Khan, you know. You
Big up.
Popcorn.
You done
What you
now.
saying?
All good, bro. All good. It's freezing out there, innit?
Yeah. It's the ice rain, innit, man?
God
You know what,
damn.
though, yeah? My battery's going backwards down. Like, I don't know what the fuck's going on with it, but
I see your boy Andreas today debating some people.
Yeah. He's saying he's beating up the place, yeah?
Yeah, man. Big up Andreas still.
Andreas is on crud still.
Yeah, man.
No, it was, yeah. It was before, he was just doing videos, right? And I kept on saying to him, hey, jump on the live streams with the people in it, man, and have it out with them. Because it's funny still. The man them are going to give you funny excuses for stuff. And different mad reasonings, like, oh. You know what I mean? So, it's funny, isn't it? Like when you check, if you check the reasons people use for the things that they do, when it's like, it's mad, isn't it? It's not what you think.
Well, you'd think that for them to actually say it to you, they'd hear the words that are coming out of their own mouth and think, what the fuck am I chatting about? Like, I ain't thought this through. But they never do. They just duck and dive, turn it around. Like Luke's the main one for that. Oh, I've got to catch this Luke, man. Next time, when you letting everyone on the panels again? Friday, is it? Yeah, we'll have to hold it down till Friday.
It's going to be a short. Yeah, even the Friday team is going to be a bit short still, because.
Is it? Oh, we get 9 Ether to do a show on Saturday or Sunday or something.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's getting a bit techie. On Carlos. Yeah, bro, let's play on card.
That was in England.
All right. Yeah, man. But I got a far drive right now still, man. So, you know, we got a blight today. We got a little blight today. You know? Yeah. Criminals, the tide is turning. You know what's funny, yeah? It's crazy, like,
go on.
How much people have taken up a lot of the far right, extreme right, righter than right talking points from, say, like, the average citizen point of view. It's a bit brazy still. Front.
What was the name of that MP? Was it Jess? The one that Elon was going on at?
Jess Phillips.
Yeah. I was listening to her talking. I was thinking, do you know what? If Jupiter was to drop the bullshit and really care about the victims, she could actually do better than fucking that prick Tommy. She should actually do that. She should actually try giving a shit about people and coming at this from a more honest point of view rather than trying to like use it as a political football. And I think she'd do really well with it because she hasn't actually got that background. She could actually bring them points. But for some reason, it's all about Tommy, and I don't get this Tommy fan club bullshit.
The victims need sincere people that care about what's actually happened and actually getting results in it. Like, so obviously people get convicted for the shit that they've done. It slows down and brings like changes to, obviously there's no way to just end it altogether, right? But it makes it even harder for these things to be going unnoticed. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, man, I don't think you need Jupiter Cos, man. You just need someone that actually cares about what the actual thing is, isn't it?
I just don't get what's the obsession with Tommy. Like, I don't get it. Like, he's not that great. He's not that fucking good at anything, is he? He's not really that great.
I don't know, yeah. You know what, yeah? Say Tommy wasn't saying mad shit about Muslims or whatever.
Oh, Tommy agreed with the Muslims. He joined the forces with Muslims, going, yeah, we don't need these transvestites and trannies in the schools. And the Muslims were still going, fuck Tommy. you remember that
I'm
one?
saying, yeah. Do you think that Tommy would have more support? But I don't know. What points would he be talking on if it weren't talking
That's what I'm
about
trying to say. His USP, his whole talking, like I think personally, the reason why people back him on this point and that point is because of one particular point he's making, which is, oh, they were scared to tell the truth because they were scared that they'd be called racist. And I think that is the main point, what Tommy's been running off, that everyone's been saying, well, no one should get to call us racist. Even if we are racist. And I think that is ultimately their real agenda, which is fighting that point of why does everything have to be like politically correct, and why do we have to care about minorities above our own interests?
Is that the people with honest complaints that really have honest questions or whatever have been lumped in with the people that are doing the racist dog whistles and all that sort of stuff there, like, so that's why it's got a bit messy out there, you know what I mean? Like, you get what I mean? Like, people that have honest questions about immigration or about the alleged grooming gang epidemics and all that sort of stuff there have been mixed up with or lumped into a group with people that don't care about the girls or might just be using it for attacking foreigners or whatever it is, isn't it? Like,
but if that was the case, if you was an honest person, you wouldn't turn a blind eye to someone else's dishonesty, right? So you can prove, if you reverse engineer the argument, you can prove that
but that's
Tommy's got a corrupt mentality. That's why he can turn a blind eye to having 150 paedophiles in the EDL, because he's already a corrupt person. He's prepared to turn a blind eye to fuckeries.
Well, the people that I'm more talking about would be like people that have a sincere concern, innit? Like, so, and they're not getting their answers questioned by, the questions answered by their local MPs or councillors or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, because there's...
You're going to have to show me that. You're going to have to prove to me that there's somebody out there raising points that ain't being addressed.
Yeah, because whether the point
what Tommy's doing?
You're raising is, wait, hold on. Whether the point what you're raising is actually true, factual or whatever is a whole different argument, right? But you having a question doesn't necessarily mean that you're anti the people that you're having a question about.
Yeah, I get what you mean. No, I do understand what you're saying. That, like, even obviously I'm a Muslim, so when I hear about Pakistani grooming gangs, I would be thinking like that would hurt me really deeply, innit? Like, that Muslims are out there committing crimes en masse. Yeah, that something should be done about it. Like, as a Muslim, that would make you want to see more of those people get convicted. But they're making that, like, they're using it as a political football and turning it the other way and going, no, but Muslims should be happy to turn a blind eye to this whole thing, and they're partly to blame for it. And even you got Piers Morgan talking to people on his show going, this is what Tommy's done. He's literally blamed the whole Muslim community of UK for things what particular Muslims do. And he's making everybody have this collective punishment, which ain't fair. You're just targeting the whole community. You're just showing that you're a racist bigot. And then at that point, how can you expect anyone, even especially Muslims, to back you against certain people? If you said to me that there's gangs out there, Pakistani gangs, drug dealing, coke dealing, heroin dealing thugs that get into prostitution, and they've used white girls in Bradford and places like that, and they've like committed these crimes, all the Muslims, the God-fearing Muslims would be the first one to say, fucking hang them from a lamppost, mate. They'll be the first one to say that. Why ain't that happening? Because they've used that to target all these millions of Muslims up and down the country and make them complicit in this crime. Like, and that's then you get into a position of what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Like, are they racist and that's why they're doing this? Or are they saying, no, but we're not racist, so we should be able to say these things? And it becomes a point where we're going around in circles now. Are they racist? Ain't they racist? Are they saying it because they're racist or not? And we're going around in circles, and it's actually taking energy away from the victims. And if the victims was the main concern from the beginning, and people were like, let's make sure we catch every motherfucker that did this, regardless of what color he is, I reckon more energy would have gone into solving them problems. I personally think.
Hey, but Khan, and big up to the panel, big up to the chat. I gotta ask this question with all due respect. If there is an issue of Pakistanis being involved in grooming gangs, isn't the logical solution to deport these Pakistanis? Isn't that a logical solution?
I think majority of the Pakistanis you're talking about were British born. So deporting them would be a bit of an issue legally speaking.
But that's my point. The ones that don't have UK citizenship.
Yeah, fuck them.
Please hold on. Let me say this, and please, while I'm up here, please do not use your immigrant gaslighting tactics. I'm trying to have a genuine discussion. With all due respect, really.
Who's an immigrant? Wait, who's an immigrant?
Hey. Well, you and Valley are both descendants of immigrants to the UK. So you have
my grandparents were. Well, my grandparents were born British, and I'm sure Valley's were too.
That means you have immigrant descent.
No, my parents were born in Jamaica still. But listen,
yeah, but they're under British. Wait, they're British passports.
No, they got.
Well, you're triggered already. You're triggered already.
Jamaica citizens still. But listen, yeah. Listen though, yeah. If you are of a foreign national, and the crime you commit leads to a jail sentence, you have got a high majority of getting deported. So it depends what crime you commit and the term of your jail sentence.
And shouldn't the immigrants' families, the immigrants that are guilty of these grooming gangs, shouldn't their families also be deported because they have a higher likelihood of
you know what it is, yeah?
Let me complete the sentence. Let me complete the sentence. Because I know that you want to use your immigrant gaslighting tactics. I'm asking a simple question. We know that these grooming gangs have been taking place multi-generationally in the UK at the hands of these foreign immigrants, particularly Pakistanis. So the question is, since Pakistanis have a documented higher propensity, a higher likelihood of being involved in grooming gangs, shouldn't their families and the perpetuators of these crimes be deported in order to reduce the likelihood of the continuance of grooming gangs in the UK?
All right, yeah, listen, yeah. Yes. That is okay, yeah, if we're okay to blame people for the crimes of their forefathers or family members and all that sort of stuff there, innit? Like, if that means that if someone in your family commits a no, I'm saying that if they bring in a new law and says that your family is culpable for the crimes that you commit, then maybe that can work. But I don't think that there's no.
Well, let me just say this. I didn't say
no way.
Hold on. Just to be clear, I didn't say put their families in jail. I just said deport.
They say they get deported. Yeah, but you're punishing the families. You're punishing the families for the crime.
Well, can I ask this?
Of a family member.
May I ask this? How is it a punishment to send you back home? Home is where your heart is. Home is the most. Hold on.
You're removing that.
No, but you're trying your immigrant gaslighting tactics. They won't work. How is it a punishment?
He's a funny guy.
How is it a punishment to send you home? Home is where you.
It's not a punishment to send you home. The punishment is removing your citizenship. That's a punishment.
That's not a punishment because
if you're a citizen and your citizenship is removed for a crime of a family member, that's a punishment, bro. Like,
exactly, because you have to.
Yeah, exactly. Right, you agree with that?
Exactly, they need to be deported. Exactly, that's my point. So the question is, isn't it logical? And look, and it's another point. You literally muted up because you couldn't get out of the head like I put you in. The last time we spoke. The question is...
He's not well. This kid's not well.
So I'm going to ask the question again. All right, let's talk about it. And you're a Jamaican, Valley. If the top 5, and Jamaica was established as a nation in 1962. It has a founding group. It has a founding population. So the question is this. If we go to Jamaica, in the top 5 biggest cities, the descendants of the founders of Jamaica are a minority. Don't you think it would be a logical step to put a moratorium or at least reduce immigration to Jamaica?
Hey, you know what? Yeah, you already know the answer to this. Yeah, checkmate.
Checkmate.
They already are minority.
Exactly. So
they already are minority.
just like you don't want to be outnumbered in Jamaica, the white British and the mulatto British, we have a right to not want to be outnumbered in the countries that we
the mulatto British now, yeah?
The mulatto British, yes. The mulatto British are
Oh my God.
of the UK.
Oh my God, you actually this something there now, yeah?
I'm just thinking about the indigenous people of the UK. We have a right to not want to be outnumbered in our country of origin. Just like you have a right to not want to be outnumbered in Jamaica. Just like Khan doesn't want to be outnumbered in Turkey.
The native Jamaicans are outnumbered in Jamaica.
Valley, repeat that. I ain't hear you.
The native Jamaicans are outnumbered in Jamaica.
The native Jamaicans, let me just say this. The native Jamaicans are not the only founding populations of the nation of Jamaica that was founded in 1962. Checkmate. So I'm speaking about the founding populations of the nation of Jamaica. That's very different than...
the original,
and let me say
talking about the original people of the land?
And let me speak on this. Actually, the indigenous did not call Jamaica Jamaica. That's an anglicization of the word.
It's a pronunciation in English, isn't it?
So it's a different word.
It's still the same. It's
they
the
did
same
not
word
call it Jamaica. Checkmate.
They called it Jamaica with an X.
No, they said Jamaica.
Jamaica.
That's a different word.
And how the Spanish pronounced it? How the British pronounced it? Or the Portuguese? Is it Spanish? It's Spanish and British.
Yeah. It's the Spanish pronounce it.
Spanish and British. Yeah.
The Spanish pronounce it ha. So. No, actually, no. In Spanish, the J makes a ha sound, so it would be Jamaica. I'm cooking you up with your own platform. I'm cooking you right now. So the question is,
man.
And look, I'm gonna drop down after I ask this because I got you on checkmate.
You're being silly. Hey, wait, listen. Wait, hold on.
Go ahead.
You see the place that you're talking about, yeah? That landmass called Jamaica, yeah? Is it still the same place when it was named Jamaica or whatever it was called? Is it still the same place?
It's the same place, not the same country. Checkmate.
Same place, not the same country. Yeah?
It's not the same
destination.
No.
Is it the same coordinates in the water?
Well, I answered that already. It's not the same nation.
All right, cool.
Jamaica was founded in 1962. But let me say this in closing. Just like Jamaicans don't want to be outnumbered in Jamaica, the white British and the mulatto British don't want to be outnumbered in the UK. But much love to y'all. Y'all enjoy your day. And stop your immigrant gaslighting tactics. Seek healing for your immigrant gaslighting disorder. It's an affliction that you can heal.
Did you say seek healing? Joker. Man's like a cartoon character, bro.
Edit. Checkmate yourself into a fucking hotel, mate. He's going mad still. Like we're saying, innit? Yeah. He keeps people. I noticed that people like to use this Jamaican example all the time. Oh, Jamaica, so. Jamaica's a capture land, a colony, a former colony. The majority of people, the nation in Jamaica, was shipped in to Jamaica. The native Jamaicans are outnumbered by Jamaicans in Jamaica, innit? Yeah, so by African Jamaicans. Yeah. So. It's not really a good example.
It is a bad example. You picked the worst place, isn't it? Literally picked the worst place.
Yeah. You should have picked somewhere like maybe Nigeria or Ghana or something. Like, then you can use the same like for like scenario, right? But not a colony, a former colony. You know, like the same thing like America, like the European Americans that are claiming to be the flipping Americans, even though they've made reservations for Native Americans, and they label that African Americans as African Americans, the Spanish Americans as Hispanic Americans, Latino Americans, and all that sort of stuff there.
But
they're
then you
not
got the
gonna let
American
people on the land.
Americans. You've got
Yeah,
the
you got
American
Americans,
Americans.
and then you
American
got native
Americans.
Americans, like actual.
Yeah.
That was native
Oh,
to the
Billy, have
land,
you seen
bro.
that film, The Gangs of New York?
Nah, I've not seen it, you know, but I
Their
see
gang,
they
yeah?
they was onto the Irish people, innit?
Yeah, so their gang, they're called the Natives, funnily, which I thought was a bit weird. I was like, why are they calling themselves the Natives? Because they're trying to say that they're the first people, the English ones, they're saying they're the first people, and the Irish and the Polish and the Germans were immigrants. So they're calling themselves natives, which is a bit strange. But if you watch the film, you realize that it's about some huge riot that happened where the factory workers went on riot, and the armed police come out and just basically started gunning them in the streets. That apparently really happened. That's the backdrop of the film. So this is a serious film, really. Yeah. Yeah, so like the English basically shot the Irish and the Polish factory workers because they were complaining about their rights and that, and like being badly treated. And so they come out to protest, and man was there with the Gatling gun, bruv, gunning him.
Brother, the rights that we enjoy nowadays, in
It's a luxury.
certain employment laws and so on. So people had to, the history behind it isn't usually always just nice. Like, okay, we just give them this thing. Well, it was people was fucking being worked. Like, remember, there's laws against children working because they used to fucking make children work all over the world.
Yeah, up and down the fucking chimneys, innit?
You know what I'm saying? Like,
people's children were getting kidnapped just so they can just slave them. Yeah, if you learn about the Industrial Revolution, it was a bit harsh.
Lowe's talking about.
Yeah, man.
We're saying, you want to hear some Rupert Lowe bars, yeah?
Yeah,
He's
guy
mad. Hey,
he's on a mad thing, innit?
Hey, listen, no. Rupert Lowe is trying to aim for the #1. Nigel Farage better watch his back, innit? Yeah? Someone's trying to take the crown right now. Yeah? Hey, Rupert's coming for the crown, cuz. Yeah, he's on crack, fam. Oh, shit.
Oi, really? Did you see Keir Starmer running joke on Nigel Farage in front of the whole house? That was so funny. He's getting what? 1 minute you're bigging up the man, saying he's making you look cool. The next minute he's asking for your job.
Your resignation. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but that's what happens though if you're dealing with lunatics, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like you see what happens? People try to befriend like psychopaths and bullies, right? But because they don't want the bully to bully them, innit? Yeah. But you still don't have control over what my man does, innit? So trying to befriend the psychopath or the bully doesn't necessarily mean he's not gonna flip on you and spaz out, right? So you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, imagine if you're like a billionaire, a flipping extreme narcissist, a flipping ketamine junkie, and you think your own shit don't stick here. God damn, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna be hard to work with, cuz. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And you know, I tell you what's bad, for people. Yeah, even I think the best person in the world, if you're just getting praised constantly, it's hard to keep your head. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, of course.
A man just getting praised constantly. So it's hard for man to stay humble, innit? After a little while,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it might go to certain people's brains and they start going mad. But
yeah, it can do, innit? It can do.
Send for Rupert Lowe. Hey, what's Adam talking about, man? Just shut up, cuz.
Rupert.
You know what I mean? Before I come down fucking White Hart Lane and smash your head in. Yeah? Before I come down fucking White Hart Lane and smash your head in. Yeah, you know,
and that's a promise.
That's a promise, yeah?
You can take that to the bank.
Charlton, mate. Charlton FC, mate. Yeah?
Hey, just don't say Woolwich. Hey, what's going on with Woolwich, man? Woolwich is getting bad nowadays.
Yeah, rest in peace, man. Yeah, it's peak out.
Yeah. R.I.P. to the youths, then.
You know what I mean, yeah? I have to come down White Hart Lane and smash him up, mate. You know what I mean? The fucking Charlton gang, you know what I mean, mate, yeah? Anyway, yeah, let's get back to business. I can't say it, man.
Let it play.
Given that the opposition amendment has been accepted, I'm not going to stand here and outline my disgust at what has happened with regard to the historic grooming scandal. The British people want answers, so I'm going to ask questions of the Labour Party and several of them. Will the government commit to urgently deporting all guilty foreign nationals involved, including family members who were aware of the crimes and therefore complicit, wives, sisters, mothers?
It started off sounding like it was going to be reasonable, right? Yeah, he said,
He went straight for the jugular. He went straight in.
He said, wait. Deport the people that committed the crime. No one's not going to fight against that if you're a foreign national. Then deport their sisters, wives, mothers, and then they want to... Yeah, right, all right. Hey, Rupert, calm down.
I was like, gosh them and like them. He just went straight in, bro.
You know, he said,
straight in.
He said, hey, listen, we full of gun pan reform block. You get me? Kill them all and done. Tar rifle all and done. Man, he's trying to dash out the whole gang. Yeah?
Mom, he ain't playing.
Dad, sisters, brothers, niece, nephews, cousins,
your cat,
aunties,
your dog,
uncles, grandparents, all of it. You're out of it. Oi. You know what match is about to start, right? That's why that little bitch Adam's gone running, mate. Liverpool versus Tottenham. White Hart Lane. Right now, bitch. Oh, shit. Let it play. Hey, I hope you smash them up as well, mate. Yeah? Oh, shit. Oh, man. All right. So, Rupert Lowe's trying to dash out the whole family. Yeah? Let one of your cousins be a nonce. And you didn't snitch on him. You gotta get deported too, cuz. You're mad. You're crazy, cuz. Like... Anyway. You ready for more?
Let it play.
Cousins, if they knew and said nothing, these individuals are just as guilty as the rapists themselves. Will the government commit to stripping citizenship from dual nationals implicated and deport them as well? Race or religion must protect nobody. Will the government commit to pausing all Pakistani visas and foreign aid into the country until the Pakistani government agrees to accept any of its imported citizens?
No, that's talking, bro. These lot went from the gangs to the community. Now they're saying the whole country. Oh my shit! Oh my lord!
Yeah, he said, yeah. He said,
he wants the whole country banned.
Will the government say we will stop all foreign visas and foreign aid to Pakistan unless they don't say agree to take in back anyone we find convicted of these crimes that we want to deport or whatever.
That is crazy. That's moving Patrick Swayze. Fuck's sake. He's gone nuts.
Got another one going crazy. Dirty nasty Patrick Swayze.
Word. Man's want sanctions on Pakistan, the whole country now.
Yo, the whole of your family is gonna get dashed out, yeah. Furthermore, we ain't even giving you, man, no aid. Yeah, no financial aid, no aid, yeah, with a H. Aid. Yeah, that he'd get dashed with. Man. Anyway. Let it play.
How many girls are estimated to have been raped? Is there a tally for the overall number of rapes? Horrifyingly, it may well be in the millions. We just don't know. How many vulnerable young girls are estimated to still be involved in these gangs? If there is no estimate figure, why not? Will a regular update be published detailing ongoing prosecutions and sentencing? Will the government publish a full nationality breakdown of those convicted for such offences, along with the location of their crimes? How many known foreign rapists per town, per region? Will they publish a breakdown of the immigration status of those involved? On what grounds were they in the UK? Do they have previous convictions?
All right, you see, obviously you've noticed the theme, right? My man's only really concentrated on the foreign nationals that are committing these crimes. I feel like that's a bit of a bullet in the foot for Rupert Lowe there still, you know. Obviously he's appealing to the dog whistles and so and so. But if their party's trying to appeal to the moderate voice as well, then things that make it seem like you could be asking questions in like a stereotypical racist manner or whatever. I don't know if that's going to attract more moderate still, but you know. Rupert Lowe's on crud though still. Yeah.
For real.
Alright, go ahead, let it play.
How many foreign nationals found guilty have been released but not deported? And how many re-offences... I'm going to carry on if that's right. How many re-offences have occurred since release? How many of these monsters are walking on the same streets as the girls they raped and abused? One report...
You know what it is though, yeah? It's like some of the questions are fair, innit? But again, that's what you do when you're one of those populist guys, right? You ask questions that people want to ask along with the spicy questions.
Yeah.
That might be doing the dog whistle thing as well, right? So yeah, obviously that's a fair question, bro. Like how many people that have been convicted of this shit have reoffended? That's a fair question. People getting their citizenships removed if they're a foreign national when they commit crimes is already something that happens, isn't it? Like, but it's still a fair question for maybe someone that's not a politician, but that would be interested in the sort of things that's been happening here or whatever, right? So we can give them a squeeze with that one still, but some of the other ones are a little bit, whoa. You know what I'm saying? It's like, right, that was like a sharp noise in my ear, cuz I'm not sure if you was blowing a dog whistle or, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? The high pitched shit, you couldn't even hear it, cuz yeah, you just see bare fucking Dobermans and Alsatians. Remember back in the day?
Flying up the road. Like a Snoop Dogg video.
Alsatian was a racist dog, cuz.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That was, what was the other one? I think a Doberman.
Doberman, Alsatian, Rottweiler. The man were all on racism. Yeah.
Nah,
even Labradors.
The scrapyard dogs. Remember the scrapyard
and the Labradors.
Dogs?
Yeah, of course. And boxers even.
Get him. Yeah. Set the dog on you, mate. You better start stepping real fast. Oh, yeah, some of these, yeah. Some of the things you're glad that some of these won't have to go through some of the stuff that you went through yourself or whatever, right? Like then in certain scenarios, you're like, that. You know?
Made us who we was, innit? Made us more realistic about life.
Alright. Let me play the rest in it, yeah? Let it play.
Suggested a victim had come face to face with her rapist in the supermarket. Is the government comfortable with that? How many of the foreign rapists were in receipt of any form of state benefit?
Now all of a sudden all the rapists are foreign.
How many released currently receive any state benefit? How many children have been born following a rape from...
How are they getting benefit if they're foreign? That's like Islamic ray guns all over again.
That's a dog whistle. Yeah, that's a dog whistle question, isn't it? How many of these
they're on benefit.
Perpetrators are getting state benefits or whatever?
Yeah.
But it fucking don't matter if you're on benefits or not, because if you're fucking bonds in it, then like we want you fucking out of here, innit? You know.
But how's he calling them foreign and saying at the same time are they on benefits? But if they're foreign and they're not UK nationals, I doubt if they'll be on benefits, bro.
Not British citizens. If you ain't a citizen, you can't claim benefits anyway.
Yeah, so his question was stupid. How many of these foreign people are on benefit? How foreigners don't get benefit?
Bro, listen, yeah. As far as Rupert Lowe's concerned, me and you are foreigners, innit?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What they mean when they're saying foreigners or whatever. That's what they mean. They don't care whether you're a British citizen. They mean that your heritage, innit? If your heritage isn't English, Scottish, Irish, or Welsh, then as far as man's concerned, you could be a citizen a little more, have passport, went primary school with Mandem and Rara. You're not, you know, you hear me?
Yeah.
You are not worthy. You hear me? You are not ready. Yeah, I swear that's the that's the gym one, alright? You are not ready. Tried to curl one of them dumbbells, yeah, it is like that. You are not ready.
Come like picking up Thor's hammer. It ain't going nowhere, bro.
All right. Let's let it play.
From these men. How many have been given access to the child against the mother's wishes? And how many have used the child as a route to remain in the UK? Will the government commit?
That's a fair question as well, still, kinda. Even though it's a dog whistle question, it's still a fair question. That's the thing with the dog whistle questions, yeah. Some of them are fair questions, right? Like, how many people accused of such crime have used,
Fathered, sired children.
yeah, fathered the child and used that, or fathered the children by way of abuse and used the child to stay in the country? That's a fair question, but it's one of those dog whistle questions that will get people that are anti-immigrants up in arms as well. So
I don't know if there's any like people out there trying to get these girls pregnant though. Doesn't make it sound like
no.
Like why would they be trying to get them pregnant?
That's what he said. He said, yeah, that obviously some of these people have been raped or abused, right? And they end up having a child out of the thingwob. But the people that's oh shit. God damn, my shortcut, man. Fucking lock off. To blood clots.
No, I hate when that happens.
Yeah, it's annoying, isn't it, man?
Yeah, but that's like me asking the question, how many of these men were convicted because they got a girl pregnant and they used the DNA of the baby to prove that he was the rapist? How many of these babies actually managed to convict the fathers? Why is it the same?
Yeah? The point he's making, even though it's a dog whistle point, it's still a fair point. How many people are currently in the country and the reason is that because they've got a child, but the way that their child was conceived was through abuse, isn't it? So obviously the person that they abused didn't consent to the child, innit? But they kept the baby. Do you know what I mean? Because that has happened. Probably a lot more than people probably think as well.
Yeah, I suppose. If they release the stats on that, we might be surprised on the numbers still.
People being abused and having a child or whatever. So, but how many of the people that in that scenario are using that child to stay in the country still? Because they need to have a relationship with the child or whatever. Because you know what, yeah, some people's visas still doesn't help, or the cases for them staying in the country, them being a child's father or whatever, or mother or whatever, doesn't always give them status to stay in the country. So, because there's people that obviously do have children that have been deported, right? So just that having a child doesn't necessarily give you status to remain indefinitely.
Yeah, but it's still a dog whistle.
Yeah, of course. It's a dog whistle and a fair question, isn't it? Like a question that, say, someone that's...
Yeah, it would be interesting to know the stats on that. It would be, of course.
Asking that sort of stuff there.
Louise is asking Veli, why do you think an inquiry isn't going to help? Trying to get my head around that one. Louise,
yeah, because
I think Veli answered that already.
No. Let me tell you why, yeah. And also, in this video, you're gonna find out. But you know, actually, yeah, let me tell you why first of all, yeah. Because I've said previously, because every time there's an inquiry, it's like years worth of asking questions. Then they lay out some implementations. Takes about 5-6 years for these reports to come out. and then they lay out implementations that they've already come to conclusions and implementations that they should be laying out that will help protect children. So lay out, spend the money on bringing forward the implementations first. Yeah, because that helps with future cases and past cases. So anyone that's been culpable in covering up grooming gangs or even been part of them or whatever, with some of the new laws or whatever, if there's evidence to prove that these people were part of the so-and-so cases, whichever case it was, whether you're Pakistani or not, obviously I don't care about where the nonsense is from. I just care that it's fucking nonsense. We should have done them, yeah?
Exactly.
It's to help with that. But you know what I'm finding hard to understand? Why don't you understand that, Louise? Why don't you understand that? Or why doesn't anyone that says that they're a supporter of victims in this grooming thing understand that logic? That calling for an inquiry to find out all the stuff that's happened when they've had an inquiry into a lot of the stuff that's happened, and they've got answers. They got names of perpetrators, people that was covering up this, that, and the other, and blah, blah, blah. And they can bring different bits and pieces in place to solve some of this stuff happening again in the future. Obviously, there's no way to just end it completely, but you can make it harder to be unnoticed. Why are people against that? Why is anyone against them implementing the findings,
the current
that they've
findings,
already come, the current conclusions that they've already got?
Exactly that. And like, no one ain't asking that. Why ain't conservatives even done anything? Like, why are we waiting now for a new lot to come in and just take this thing up? Why?
To redo the whole inquiry again. Anyway, but let me play the rest of the video, yeah? Because this video and this next video here, yeah, will answer questions to that still. But let it play.
To preventing this in future. How many deportations have been blocked due to the rapist's right to a family life or other ECHR influences?
Oh.
Will the government set up a dedicated...
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that, right? That your deportation, well, the ECHR, your human rights. Your human right isn't to be in your child's life or whatever it is.
No.
Or is it?
It's the child's rights to
Is that
see you.
human right?
No, it's not. According to the 2001 Human Rights Act of, I think it's the European law, actually, 2001, the child has the right to see the parent, and the parent doesn't have any rights, actually.
Yes, I thought it was just about, like, human rights. Like, so, basically, things that were going to put your life in danger or whatever, rather than things that you like about your life. So, like I was saying before previously, I swear people have been deported and their fathers or mothers, the child that they've conceived is left behind in the country with
it can happen. Yeah,
it can happen.
Yeah, it can happen. That can happen.
So,
I don't know what would be the extenuating circumstances of why they would do that to someone, but like, you got to imagine that there's certain things that you might need from your, let's say your pops, for example. Like if you needed like a kidney transplant or something, and they've like deported your family, you've got no chance of survival as a British citizen. They've robbed you of your right to life, innit? So them sort of things do come into it.
That's like extreme circumstances, isn't it?
Yeah, it has to be extreme.
Like just
standard,
standard circumstances of, right, you as someone's parent. Alright, say for instance, I've got my children or whatever. I commit a heinous crime, and I'm not a British citizen. I lose my visa and get deported.
Yeah.
Me having a child or having children in the country, I don't think would be a mitigating circumstance to why I deserve to be in the country still. You know what I mean? I don't think so. Still.
I don't think so. Unless anyone can prove that.
Let's play the rest still.
confidential and accessible official process for whistleblowers to safely raise their concerns regarding foreign rape gangs, ensuring it is safe, secure and easy to find? Will the government release all court transcripts relating to these cases so the British people can understand just part of the horror for themselves? How many of these documents have been hidden due to the cost of release? This should not be an obstacle to transparency on these trials. Will lifelong sentences now be considered for those British citizens involved in the crimes, but also those in positions of power who acted to cover up the scale of the abuse? Which politician?
Oof. Lifelong sentences for British citizens. Man, that helped with the cover-ups and all them sort of stuff there. I swear there's only like a couple of different circumstances where they'll give you like an indefinite sentence or whatever in it. I don't think being a member or a helper or someone that's helped cover up a grooming gang would result in a lifelong sentence or whatever. It should result in some sort of sentence though, innit? Like covering up or helping.
Yeah, of course. What, being complicit in a crime? Of course it should.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, in this specific crime, especially if you're in a position of trust and power, where you're supposed to be looking after or taking care of the, do you know what I mean? You're supposed to be one of the people that is in a position of trust that if any of these victims or any of these people that could be potential victims come to with something to tell you that they're in danger, like you're supposed to make sure that you get them into the right places that is away from the danger sort of thing.
As a minimum requirement.
And Lowe, in some of the evidence from the thing, it's like girls that's been groomed or whatever had been taken to the police station, and then the people that had groomed them had fucking picked them up,
Picked them up from outside. Yeah. We saw that yesterday, wasn't it? That was terrible.
Yeah.
That was terrible, man.
That's crazy, isn't it?
That's just unbelievable how brazy these guys are, man. Brazen. Yeah, man. These guys are taking the piss.
That's even been allowed to take place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the same thing is because, like, when the children that get into these positions where they're like either in care or they're go missing quite a lot and so and so. Like, the police don't listen to them when they're giving their testimonies about different bits and pieces that might be happening.
This is a serious thing, though. This is a serious thing. This will never get looked at. Why the police have just written off a certain amount of the British population as just being trash. It's like, we don't care about you. We don't care what happens to you. We're not going to waste any resources on you because you came out of care, or you're from a single parent family, or you live on a council estate. You're just trash. Like, police should not be getting away with this fucking shit. But because these lot turned it into a race issue, now none of this. There's no energy for none of this stuff now. This stuff's going to just carry on. And police are out there with this attitude of not giving a shit about their own people, actually. Their own population. They're like, yeah, you're just trash. You ain't got legal aid. You can't afford the solicitor. There's nothing we can do for you, mate. You're on your own.
Cool. Proper mad still. What's mad here is that, like I was saying as an example the other day, was that if it was like posh kids that was saying these sort of things are happening to them, it's the same thing with the punchlines and all that sort of stuff. Though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Even when we was youths, really, and we used to just get stopped and searched on every corner. Police was treating us like we was terrorists, bro. You couldn't even walk down the road. You couldn't go to the corner shop with 3 of your mates and come back without police dragging you up, turning out your pockets. And we was only like fucking 13. We weren't even smoking cigarettes at that point. Don't know what the fuck they were doing to
I
us,
treat
man.
you that shit. So
Do you know what I'm saying? That was a mad thing, bro.
yeah. So anyway, let's play the rest still, man.
Local and national had knowledge of these events but failed to act. Again, going as far as to actively conceal what was truly happening. These are the facts that the British people want to know and the British people deserve to know. All of these questions have also been submitted in written form, and I look forward to receiving open and transparent answers. The mass rape of young white working class girls by gangs of Pakistani rapists is a rotting stain on our nation. This is not about Elon Musk. This is not a bandwagon of the far right. This is about the victims and ensuring swift and brutal justice is delivered to those demons responsible. It is about distinguishing between right and wrong. I finished.
All right. Yeah, man. So that's another thing that I don't get either. Yeah, that people were saying that they're for the victims and they want justice for the victims. If you really want justice for the victims, why don't you want the stuff that has been recommended to be implemented from the original inquiry to be implemented yesterday? Like that shit should be implemented. Like that's one of the things that's going to be causing justice for the people that are suffered in this shit.
Exactly.
That's one of the things that's going to get them justice, or that they're even saying themselves that, or the organizations that help them or on them, the people that are speaking on them organizations, they're saying like, yo, the victims want the recommendations implemented because they know how long inquiries take. We know, bruv, like, you know what's mad here? For example, how much times or how long have I been speaking about from the McPherson inquiry up to the Casey report with things to do with institutional racism? The list of things that they said that they're going to implement and do that they haven't done, yeah, but still keep coming up with the same results. Like, is that what you want them to do with this grooming gang thing, innit? Like, if you do, then keep campaigning for them to do another inquiry, because like, that's going to take like 7 to 10 years anyway, and then after that they're going to have to bring out the recommendations and then carry out. And then you don't know
what government's going to be in power by then.
If you're willing to wait 15 years for them to find out what's happening and get it implemented to get justice for the people, where they could have had justice earlier, yeah, within like this year to next year, because they could implement recommendations tomorrow if they really wanted to, because right now they just have to finalize the bill of all the different implementations that needed to be recommended, or that was recommended in there, to get the House to agree on what it is, or majority vote on it, and then boom, it's in. Like, but it's weird, isn't it? Like, it's strange. People that say that they care about these people and all that, yeah. I keep flashing, man. I swear my lights is on.
I find it funny that they're referring to them as white working class girls. I would really want to know how many of them really were working class. Because I think all up and down the country, there's like a lot of people that are just living, like, you know, when you was little and you used to come out on road and certain people were always on road, always. Like, no matter what time of day you come out, like Mary and fucking Frederick are always on the corner smoking a little B&H. Like, there were street kids when we were little, bruv. And I think to call them working class ain't even real, bruv. Working class people I knew had to be home.
Now, what they mean, yeah, is people from the working class, like, alright, from places like council estates and other places like that, right, where majority people living are working class. That's what they mean, innit? From places like that. So
yeah, I'm saying, I would be surprised if majority were working class.
You gave the example, right? Even at the times when you weren't even doing shit and there weren't nothing bad going on, because there might have been a group of you walking to the shop here, if the police drove past and they just didn't like the way that you were walking that day, they're going to just jump out and be onto you or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's the same way with the working class, with the young girls that are in this scenario situation. Imagine when they're telling the police, like, rah, this big man so-and-so, who's paying these big taxes or owns this company or does that so-and-so,
No,
might
but
be
look,
sponsoring this local... Wait, bro, hold on. Yeah, might be sponsoring this local football team, this person that might have some sort of stature in the thingamabob. If when these just nobody people are giving testaments about these people doing these sorts of things, the police might just like, yeah, all right, mate, we don't believe you, innit? Like the same way that they're just pulling up on the man.
Yeah, but that don't
ready
happen to
trace
working
man up
class
for no reason.
people. That don't happen to the working class. That happens to the underclass. People who are unemployed, like for
happens to working class
generations.
people.
These are underclass people.
No,
Yeah,
it happens
working
to
class
working
people
class
can afford solicitors, can afford to
Nah,
fucking
man.
have two parents to turn up
That's
at the
wrong.
police station.
That's wrong. No, that's not true. Working class people definitely ain't affording fucking barristers and think what, man. More times it's legal aid, bro. Yeah, that on the real. Yeah,
Yeah, you ain't getting
solicitor
legal aid
fees
for
costing
that.
bread. Yeah,
You ain't getting no legal aid for that.
What for criminal? Yeah, criminal case you get legal aid. The family court, a single dad won't get legal aid.
I'm saying
Single
if you
mum will
wanted to
get
sue
legal
the
aid or mum
police
on
for
benefits.
malpractice, would you get legal aid?
You might be able to still.
Well, I don't know.
Still.
Anyway, like, I was going to
But
quickly
that's not the point.
mention
No. But that's not
this
that's
one
not
thing
what
I
we was
saw.
talking about, though, right? Was them suing the police. The original point is that when these when the children are reporting to the police, because they come from certain backgrounds or whatever, and some of the people they might be reporting about might be adults in the community, or man might have a shop, man might have a builder's merchant, man might have something on the ends or whatever, or might just be an older person. So it's easier for them to take the adult's word over the child's word. Is really the point that I'm trying to make, innit?
No, I hear your point, but let me ask you a question. I'm asking your opinion in it, what you think. If we took a number of all these girls that were groomed up and down the country, what percentage of them would you think that label of being white working class applies to? Would you say like it would be quite high?
White working class.
Yeah, that's what the man
Obviously,
said,
I would
didn't
say
it?
would be the majority, obviously, because it's like the white English is the majority of the UK, yeah. But I do think that there will be other people that basically, like you're saying, yeah. If you come from a home where you might have a troubled background, or you might have a bit of a bad relationship with your parents, and you get kicked out quite a lot and all that sort of stuff there, that's where these sort of things are easier to take place, right? Because like the kids go missing. So yeah, my headphones just died. One sec. Yo, talk.
Yeah.
Talk for a sec, cuz.
Yeah, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So what I'm questioning myself is that this narrative that's been whittled down into this little catchphrase of Pakistani foreign men are targeting white working class girls. And I think when you look at it in that respect, you're saying that all the people that committed this crime were Pakistani and all the girls that were involved were white working class girls. That makes it sound completely different than what we're talking about street grooming of girls that are rolling around on street, come out of care, single parent families, like probably underclass, probably not even working class. Because I saw a woman who put a TikTok up today. Sorry to
But
rattle
working
on.
class could have them that family structure or scenario also. That and also, yeah, like again, it doesn't obviously they're Rupert Lowe and Reformer or whatever, they're specifically targeting Pakistani gangs that are specifically targeting white working class or whatever. But I'm making a point of saying that it's any child from a disadvantaged background, boy or girl, could be susceptible to these same tactics because of the I don't know, the broken family structure.
See,
that
my
they're already
argument,
in, or the
Veli, my
scenario
argument
that
is
they're already
this. Listen, my argument is that there's a subsection of society that police turn a blind eye to, and because of that, that leaves
in.
them
Nah, it's a higher.
susceptible to organised crime, thingying them, like having an effect on their lives. That's what I'm saying.
Brother, I'm not saying, yeah, I'm disagreeing with you on that point. Because I'm not saying that
fair enough.
it's just a sub undersection of society that they're turning a blind eye to. I'm saying that they're turning a blind eye to a lot of working class people also, especially if your structure seems like you come from a broken background and the person you're making an accusation against has a solid standing. It would be even harder for your, well, it would have been even harder. Hopefully now it's a bit easier and people are listening to a bit more because this stuff's come back to the forefront again. And also their recommendations are going to be implemented as well. So I don't think it's just this air quotes underclass that is affected or it would be affected. I'm saying it's the obviously working class, even some middle class people, just basically anyone, any child that has a broken relationship with their family where they're run away from their home quite a lot for whatever reason, and whether it's the child that's being unruly or whether it's the parents that's got a broken structure inside their the background of doesn't matter.
No, I accept that to a certain degree. You're right. You are right to a certain extent. You are right, because don't forget that guy that was talking the other day about his daughter, and she had, I think he said she had ADHD or whatever, and she like had a bad relationship with her mum and dad, and like she ended up being the girl that went down to meet what was his name? Not Tommy Robinson, the other one. What was his name? Danny. Yeah, that girl there. When the dad was explaining it, you could see that she had a nice house, a nice family, a mum and a dad. It's just that when the police come to see them, they were like, well, this happens with 17-year-old girls. Do you know what I mean? Like, they do run away sometimes. And it's like, yeah, in that respect, yeah, you could say the police let down a good, upstanding, working class family. But then again, there was another girl that I see that put a TikTok out today about how she was abused. And she was like, well, me and my two mates were down the road talking to one guy, and his boys pulled up in a car and said, who wants to come for a drive to Bradford? And she goes, my two mates looked at me and went, no, you're mad, don't go with them. And she was like, because I was like a street gal and I was from like a broken like a home and I was like a bit of a rude gal. She goes, I jumped in the car and went with them. She goes, and that obviously led to me being groomed. But my other two mates who had to be home at a certain time and they had good family relations, they were at home like goody goodies, like telling their mum and dad, bro, like these guys tried to drag us off to Bradford and whatever in the car. Yeah. So like what I'm saying is that I would class them as working class. Kids that have got a good mum, good dad, both working, both at home, married. To me, that's working class people.
You keep mixing up the thing of having a good parents with your class level or whatever. You could have rich parents and they could be cunts in it, like, still. So having good parents doesn't matter what class you're from, innit? A good parent's a good parent, a bad parent's a bad parent. But I'm saying that it affects people that are it's mainly affecting people that are coming from places where they have a bad family structure. I'm not talking about just this air quotes Pakistani grooming gang thing. I'm talking about any child that's being groomed or taken advantage of. The ones that's getting taken
or ended up in crime.
To shop drugs, the ones that's being sexually abused, the ones that's being used to carry weapons, all of it, because it all comes under abuse, right, of someone's child.
Facts.
And the way that they're getting to find the people is that it's easier to groom the people that are coming from the broken backgrounds, like you just said, the girl without a home time or the boy without a bedtime or whatever, than it is to groom the children whose parents have a strict regime or whatever, or whose mum and dad are present, or do you know what I mean? That, but it's still that the exception doesn't make the rule, right? Because people have, like you was explaining with the lady that was like a bit older, had decent parents, and still was groomed as well. So yeah, doesn't necessarily mean because you come from a good or you've got solid parents, you're immune from being susceptible to any of this shit as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, brother, I swear down, yeah. It's mad still. But alright, let's listen to the reply to Rupert Lowe still, man. Because it's a good reply they give still, yeah. Let it play.
Sarah Champion. I want to start by welcoming this bill because it actually does address a lot of the underlying problems that we have within our schools' education and indeed protection of children. I welcome the Secretary of State's commitment to make this a child-centred bill. I've got to say, I feel disgusted by what the Honourable Gentleman has just said. Can you imagine if you're a victim or survivor listening to that? I'm sure his intent is to get to the truth and get justice. But the language, please think about who hears our words. Sorry, everyone. On the 26th of November 2024, in her letter to the chair of the Safeguarding Practice Review Panel, the Secretary of State for Education said, "The forthcoming Children's Wellbeing Bill is a vital mechanism for improving the lives of vulnerable children. There is a renewed government focus on tackling child sexual exploitation, which will necessarily include our response to the ICSA recommendations. I want to take this moment as an opportunity to say to the Secretary of State which of those recommendations fall squarely within this bill, and I hope with cross-party support we can encourage the Secretary of State to adopt them. ICSA actually published 20 recommendations that were trying to address the whole of child sexual abuse.
Let me say this, yeah? For the people saying they're concerned about the grooming gang stuff here, you should hang your heads in shame anyway, yeah? Because none of you's downloaded the ICSA report and went through the recommendations and was banging on about, look at this, they found this and they never said they was going to do that and they never implemented that. You waited until Elon Musk jumped on Twitter to tell you to get angry, to start trying to make up noise about it, and then form a story after that. Yeah, but obviously, luckily, we can check the backdated backlog and see that, like, flipping, not one person, not one, like zero, not one of you, any one of you that's listening or will be listening in the future that is talking about how much you're on this ending grooming gangs thing, downloaded this report, read through the report, looked at any of the recommendations and said what you agreed with and what you disagreed with. So, yeah, do with that what you will, innit?
In this country, to get support for those victims and survivors, to get early intervention to prevent the crime, but also to get the prosecutions that we all so desperately want. Recommendation 1 was for a core data set. Currently, the bill's single-use identifier number is not the same as a core data set. There is a need for a unified set of data which allows authorities to better understand the prevalence of abuse, identifying patterns and informing evidence-based policy making. What we currently have is a patchy, fragmented data system that hinders effective prevention and intervention. ICSA asks for the creation of a single core data set that includes the characteristics of victims and alleged perpetrators of child sexual abuse, vulnerability factors and the settings and contexts in which the abuse occurs. Recommendation 2 would be for a Child Protection Authority for England and Wales. Recommendation 3, a Cabinet Minister for Child Protection. And that needs to be someone that cuts across all the different departments, because that's where we're failing children right now. We do not have a joint approach when it comes to child protection. Recommendation 4, public awareness campaign, and cultural awareness is included throughout the recommendations. We need to make...
Man, shut your mouth, man. None of you cunts would have got locked up or called far right for speaking about the recommendation found in the fucking J report. Man, behave yourself, man, and stop your bullshit, man. It is why you man are just cappers, yeah? It gets on my nerves when you men do that stuff. Yeah, when you fucking lie for no reason. You just stop lying, man, you know? It happens to anyone, yo. You get fucking finessed by anyone, innit, yeah? Finessed, innit? You never downloaded no fucking report. Never went for recommendations. Yeah. And I mean, before this week, yeah? Yeah? You still ain't downloaded it now. What are you talking about? Yeah? Even though you're bawling about getting another inquiry done, you ain't downloaded this ICSA inquiry and gone through it. I highlighted any points of where they're not doing this or they are doing that. You're waiting for flipping Elon Musk, Nigel Farage or someone on Twitter to fucking post a screenshot of what they've done or what they want recommended, so you can jump on the bandwagon of that. Yeah? How you can be. One second, I promise you. I can't, hold up.
Yeah, man, I'm here, man. I think that is the point, though, to this whole thing, that certain people care about the victims. They don't care about things like race or class. Regardless of that, regardless of whatever colour you was, you should get prosecuted with the full extent of the law. That is the whole point. When people can only be bothered if it's a certain race of people or a certain religion of people, it does make them look disingenuous. It doesn't make people think, well, why should we care about what you want if you don't care about the truth? And the truth is, regardless of what fucking colour these geezers was, as criminals, they should have got fucking dealt with. Simple as that. Why does their colour even need to come into it? If they're all in prison, who gives a fuck what colour they are? The fact is, getting them all in prison should be the main concern. That's all there is to it. You lot only want to riot for fucking racism. That's what you lot want to do. Can't expect anyone to take that seriously. Like, even your own people, your own government don't take you lot seriously. Just embarrassing, man. And we got to fucking listen to you all day on here, trolling people in the fucking chat and that. It's embarrassing. You know? All right, we accept that there's certain people in this country that don't give a fuck about anything. Go on, brother.
Yeah, man. So I say, I got a phone call still, man, so I couldn't even hear what you were saying. But what was you saying there?
I was saying that regardless of what colour the perpetrators were, the main focus should be getting anyone who committed this crime into prison. That should be the main concern. And when you start saying this about their colour, it makes it look disingenuous, and then people don't really want to get behind your struggle or come out for you because they're thinking, well, you're only doing it for your own selfish reasons or your own political football.
Well, you do get some lunatics though still, like, you know what I mean? Like fucking, I don't know, like, obviously I'm not in the Pakistani community, right? So, like, I can't really say what does and doesn't happen in the Pakistani community, but, like, you know, like, there's other YouTube commentators, for instance, like Lubna, like, she's on it. Like, she's like, yo, there's Pakistani grooming gangs and we need to smash them. Yeah,
but
I'm like, god damn.
Yeah, but if she's a Pakistani herself, that's understandable, isn't it? She's thinking he's not giving us a bad name. Plus, there shouldn't even be Pakistani gangs. What type of gang they are? Like, from a Muslim point of view, Turkish gangs shouldn't be fucking even existing in this country, let alone are we going to argue? Are they selling drugs or are they doing prostitution or are they what are they doing? No, they shouldn't even fucking exist, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like, Pakistani gangs should not exist. There should not be Pakistani gangs in England. Like, we've all come here to make a better life for ourselves, and we should be against English gangs, let alone we're bringing in our own gangs. That's crazy. That's madness. No decent, upstanding Pakistani would be in favour of that. That's like saying all Sicilians are in league with the mafia.
That's really the main point, right? That the majority of whichever group isn't into any sort of flipping, derogatory, drag of society behaviour. It's always a minority of whichever group it is that carries out said behaviour. So that's really the thing of, if that was really the argument, then more time it would be more of a unified front against sort of any sort of child abuse and all that sort of stuff there. But it's like, that's not really the argument that it seems that a lot of people were trying to make, in my personal opinion. It seems that because when people are trying to make it on just racial lines, it makes it harder to stand behind what your argument is, right? Because it doesn't seem like you're sincerely against the grooming guys thing. The same arguments I used to have with Red Pill Phil, Eddie is okay, and all them sort of guys there. The first time round. The first time Tommy Robinson come speak at school now, and all that sort of stuff, to read out Martin Selner's speech, was that, like, everyone hates nonsense, but it's like, you can't only hate Asian nonsense.
Yeah.
You hear me? Like, so that's why it's hard to stand behind anything that you're saying, because, all your stuff seems like 100. It's like just on some racist shit rather than against nonsense.
It's like, see that geezer who just gave the speech, what was his name? Rupert.
Yeah,
you could just listen to that. You could just listen to that speech and come to the conclusion that this geezer's a racist, and he's saying that if anyone of any ethnicity commits a crime, he should get deported. If you've got dual nationality, you're out of here. Shamima Begum style. That's basically what he's trying to say. He's trying to say, like, why are we bothering to send these black and brown people to prison in our own country when we could just kick them out of the country full stop? That's basically what he's saying. Yeah, so basically, if you just listen to this guy's speech that he just made, if you take out the part about the girls, all he's saying really is anyone who commits a crime should get sent back to their country of origin. And that is if you don't want to accept that that's a far right point of view, then what the fuck are we talking about here? It's like, obviously, trying to ride he's trying to ride off of the back of someone else's pain and suffering and get through his point of view across on that point. Like, it's just disgusting. It's degenerate that people have actually suffered. Do you know what I mean? There's girls out there that have been through ordeals that if me and you went through it, we'd probably commit suicide. Like, it's that bad what they've been through. And like, these guys are just trying to ride their politics off of it. It's just disgusting. The same thing with the riots. Like, the geezer killed 3 little innocent babies and everyone's out trying to burn mosques. It's just crazy. Just makes it look disingenuous. It's like the right wing are just basically trying to riot off of anything, but even things that ain't nothing to do with them. Like, no one wants to be called right wing. No one wants to have that label. No one wants to bear that association with being a Nazi or anything like that. But yet they want to push Nazi rhetoric. They want to push Nazi arguments and points of view. It's like, you can't have it both ways. But you can sit there saying, I'm not racist, I'm not Nazi, I'm not a racist. But everything you say is out of the fucking racist fucking cookbook. Every recipe you're coming out with is out of Jamie fucking racist Oliver's cookbook. Don't make sense. You know, I think really this white privilege thing gets in the way because you lot think you can just say whatever you want and no one's going to argue with you. And even if they do, you can just like bulldoze through their argument and keep things moving. But unfortunately, you can't do that because the majority of the British people aren't racist and they aren't right wing and they've had enough of fucking conservatives. I'm not saying conservatives are right, far right or anything, but I'm saying that 14 years of fucking conservative bullshit, people have had enough. It's only now that you're seeing Labour or left-wing, even journalists putting up an argument against any of the shit that's been going on in this country for the last however long. It's only recently now you're seeing a backlash, people standing up for things like Palestine and things like that. It's just mad. I don't know, like, you lot had it your own way for so long in this country. You really got complacent with it, I think. I think really and truly, you lot knew what time it was. That's why you had that riot, because you thought, we should have fucking got it in when we had the chance. That's what it is.
You're such a crybaby. For somebody from the Ottoman Empire, you are weak. Veli, do you mind if have you got time to go through that inquiry? Because when you posted the link the other day, I did go through it. And I do have to be honest, it doesn't really focus on grooming gangs. It focuses more on, it was the aftermath of
child sexual assaults.
Let me finish, please. It was the aftermath of the Savile investigation and what came out from Savile. And it focused more on care homes and abuse within these care homes and institutions. But I can't really see anything about the grooming gangs, which is what people are asking for, an inquiry into the grooming gangs. And I don't think that's been done.
But they did do a 2-year investigation into the child exploitation and all that sort of stuff there. And that is like the technical term for
generally
the grooming gangs things. But let me play this video because this lady is the lady that done the actual one of the investigations into the actual grooming gang side of it, right? So let me just play the rest of this so you can see what she says, and then you could make a decision after that. Yeah, so let me just rewind it to when she starts. Let's see about
involved in the crimes, but also those in positions of power who acted to cover up the scale of the abuse. Which politicians, local and national, had knowledge of these events but failed to act? Again, going as far as to actively conceal what was truly happening. These are the facts that the British people want to know and the British people deserve to know. All of these questions have also been submitted in written form, and I look forward to receiving open and transparent answers. The of Pakistani rapists is a rotting stain on our nation. This is not about Elon Musk. This is not a bandwagon of the far right. This is about the victims and ensuring swift and brutal justice is delivered to those demons responsible. It is about distinguishing between right and wrong. I finished.
Sarah Champion.
I want to start by welcoming this bill because it actually does address a lot of the underlying problems that we have within our schools' education and indeed protection of children. I welcome the Secretary of State's commitment to make this a child-centred bill. I've got to say, I feel disgusted by what the Honourable Gentleman has just said. Can you imagine if you're a victim or survivor listening to that? I'm sure his intent is to get to the truth and get justice. But the language, please think about who hears our words. Sorry, everyone. On the 26th of November 2024, in her letter to the chair of the Safeguarding Practice Review Panel, the Secretary of State for Education said, "The forthcoming Children's Wellbeing Bill is a vital mechanism for improving the lives of vulnerable children. There is a renewed government focus on tackling child sexual exploitation, which will necessarily include our response to the ICSA recommendations. I want to take this moment as an opportunity to say to the Secretary of State which of those recommendations falls squarely within this bill, and I hope with cross-party support we can encourage the Secretary of State to adopt them. ICSA actually published 20 recommendations that were trying to address the whole of child sexual abuse in this country, to get support for those victims and survivors, to get early intervention to prevent the crime, but also to get the prosecutions that we all so desperately want.
Can we just pause it there, please, Belly?
Recommendation 1 was for a core data set.
Because I've read the recommendations. It was issued in like the final report. Again, I've got to be honest, it has not highlighted the grooming gangs. It is not focused on the grooming gangs. It's not even touched upon the fact that there is commonalities between cases up and down the country that deserves an investigation or an inquiry. If you've seen something other that can specifically say that yes, grooming gangs in particular have been investigated and there's been an inquiry into that, then we need to see that, because that's what people complain about. But this report that I'm reading here, it focuses more on, like I say, institutions, and the final report, the recommendations, they're all just like mandatory online pre-screening for sexual images of children, a guarantee of specialist therapeutic support for child victims of sexual abuse, but it's not actually highlighting the issue that many people are concerned about.
All right, well, listen to what I'm not gonna give my answer in it, yeah, because you already know my answer in it, yeah. But listen to what this is the lady that conducted the initial report into the grooming gang side of the report that you're looking into, innit? So once she's wrapped up what she's saying, yeah.
Is that her?
Yeah. That's not. I'm not saying that's not.
Alexis Jane, no.
That's she done the look into specifically the grooming gang side of it. She's gonna explain now, innit?
But was that an inquiry, or was that just right, go on, let it explain. Go on.
Yeah. Right.
Currently, the bill's single-use identifier number is not the same as a core data set. There is a need for a unified set of data which allows authorities to better understand the prevalence of abuse, identifying patterns and informing evidence-based policy making. What we currently have is a patchy, fragmented data system that hinders effective prevention and intervention. ICSA asked for the creation of a single core data set that includes the characteristics of victims and alleged perpetrators of child sexual abuse, vulnerability factors and the settings and contexts in which the abuse occurs. Recommendation 2 would be for a Child Protection Authority for England and Wales. Recommendation 3, a Cabinet Minister for Child Protection, and that needs to be someone that cuts across all the different departments, because that's where we're failing children right now. We do not have a joint approach when it comes to child protection. Recommendation 4, public awareness campaign, and cultural awareness is included throughout the recommendations. We need to make
6,
children aware of the risks that they face, but we also need to tackle cultural insensitivities and much worse wherever we find them. This
Well, mate, can you just quickly pause it there, sorry?
to me, because I'm.
So she said that was 0.4, but that's 0.6. 0.4 is a single set of core data related to child sexual abuse and child sexual exploitation. And recommendation 5 is the creation of a cabinet level minister for children abuse. I don't know if they've removed some of these recommendations now. It sounds like
she's probably like having difficulty reading it out.
She shouldn't do if she's the chair.
But she obviously did.
One that you've got.
No, she didn't. You're just assuming
I've got the same one that you got that you can
more
download
likely.
From.
1 minute. Right, Khan's not read anything. Belly has. Belly, have you seen?
I've got the same one, yeah.
Right, thank you.
That's downloaded from.
Have they removed recommendations, really? Have they removed recommendations?
I'm not sure recommendations. I mean, here the 20 recommendations.
How likely is it?
Listen.
Yeah, it's more likely she got the number wrong.
Yo, listen, guys. The main point is that the recommendation that she's talking about is included in the recommendation list of ThingWobs. It's just the wrong number in it. Right.
Exactly.
So we can.
I don't know that, because if she's missed that, because that's a big point, a single set of core data related to child sexual abuse. If she's missed over that bit, then that's what people might be wanting. Data. But anyway, go on, let it play.
All right, go on.
Very proud that I got the previous government to make sure every child from primary school had relationship education. However, in September 24, the DfE published an independent evidence review on teaching relationship education to prevent sexual abuse, and it found that still teachers were not receiving the adequate training. There are not the adequate resources for those teachers, and so I urge the Secretary of State to use this bill to do something about it. Specifically, will she ring-fence RHSE training budgets? I will, of course.
Thank you for giving way. A fantastic organisation in my constituency of South Devon called Child Assault Prevention. I worked with them when I was working at Devon Rape Crisis. They had to close their doors 2 years ago because their funding was cut by the previous government, and they were doing really, really vital work with primary school age children, teaching them about the dangers of sexual assault and how to avoid it. So I would really welcome the government looking at reinstating funding to organisations like this who are working in this very sensitive area with young children.
And I would absolutely recommend and echo what she's saying. It's so important. Recommendation 13 is on mandatory reporting, and I was keen to hear the Home Secretary say that this was going to be one of her objectives, but it also needs to cover those in all positions of trust. I'm very, very concerned as well that if we just have mandatory reporting without the resources for the administration to actually act on that, it becomes no more than a tick box exercise, but also the very teachers and training staff that should be protecting children get penalised, worse, prosecuted as a consequence. I would like to say that ICSA took 7 years, cost £186 million. It had over 2 million pages of evidence, 725 witnesses, and over 6,000 victims and survivors put their trust into the process and gave their evidence.
Just pause it there, please.
They did all of this.
Was that specifically about grooming gangs, though, or was that about child sexual abuse?
Yeah, it's all of it all together, right? Because
yeah, but that's where I think they're being disingenuous with it, Velly, because clearly, like, so these grooming gangs, but it was an epidemic. It was something that, like, you could clearly follow a pattern with it, and it was happening in cities in the north, towns in the north, in the south, everywhere up and down the country. So
how's that a pattern if it's everywhere?
Because there's a pattern behind it. There's an MO, you idiot. People got branded. One minute.
You idiot.
Don't go there, cop. People got branded with the letter M for Mohammed. If you really want to fucking go there. So clearly there was intention. There was clearly intentions behind it. And what people are wanting, Belly, and what people are wanting is an investigation as to how that has happened. How's it been covered up? Because it's definitely been covered up. The police have already come out and said that they didn't want to investigate that particular set of crimes because they'd have been called racist, and that's what people are wanting an inquiry for. For Labour to come out and say, "Oh, we've done one. We've done a general inquiry into child abuse." I can assure you, Belly. Let's go through that report. You'll see nothing about grooming gangs. The only thing it mentions, so I've done like keyword searches and shit, like I would do if I was looking for information. I wanted to be appeased with something. Highlight the word Asian, highlight like the word Pakistani. Pakistani comes up once, and it says that if you see the name Asian, basically, then that can mean Pakistanis, Indians, and all these other group of people. And then when you search Asian, it's mentioned 7 times in the whole report. That's not highlighting grooming gangs.
Yeah, but bro, that's because obviously, like, a lot of you guys want a specific inquiry into Asian grooming gangs only.
Yeah,
right?
no, into that specific, because it's not just that it was Asian. That's one of the commonalities with it. But there was other things that happened, and like you said, they got them out of care. Maybe the care workers were involved in it. Local shops, takeaways, and all that.
Which is what I said, and you objected to that.
Be quiet, please, Con. Local shops and takeaways were involved in it. So there needs to be an inquiry into that specific set of crimes, not just as a whole. I understand why people are wanting that.
But this is what I'm trying to ask you, though, right? So, are you saying, like, what it seems like a lot of people in the chat keep saying, that they want a specific inquiry into Pakistani grooming gangs and the things that surround Pakistani grooming gangs?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, it's not just going to be entirely Pakistani. The government themselves have labelled it Pakistani grooming gangs. So clearly, it's the vast majority of them. But yes, I think that itself, if that has been happening up and down the country, and it's not just it's not just happening like Blackpool, for instance, where it could just be a group of mates who have done it. If it's happened up and down the country, clearly there's been some communication about it. So there needs to be an investigation as to how this has become so widespread. And I feel like that an inquiry specifically into that is justified, and denying people that is just going to cause people to become conspiracy theories. It'll cause racial tensions. I don't know why they've not had this inquiry. I don't know why they've refused it.
They can give you the reasons why they're refusing to carry out another inquiry into just specifically Asian grooming gangs, but you have to listen to the rest of what she's going to say. So yeah,
go on, let it play.
We spent all of this money so that the recommendations would be implemented. There was also a Home Office report. Again, I spent a year of my life putting into the Home Office report, which was in 2020, which gave the solutions. I spent 2 years in the ICSA inquiry specifically around grooming gangs. The recommendations haven't been adopted. So I say...
Yeah, so she spent 2 years looking into grooming gangs in the ICSA report, specifically.
Can you bring it up?
You know what she has to do, yeah?
Section? I can't.
There's a term, I can't remember what the terminology that they give it, because they don't give it. Grooming gangs is a newspaper term that's been come up. The actual official term is not grooming gangs, it's something else. But that's the part that she carried out for the group. I can't remember the name, sorry, but I did have
street
it.
Something, wasn't it?
But yeah. So she done things. But Luke, you see, the point is, yeah, like I was saying as well, yeah, is that you see these fucking inquiries, having like 10, 20,000 million inquiries into the thingamabobs without them implementing any sort of recommendation means that you're going to be waiting another 10, 15 years before any recommendations get into place. Wait, hold on. Let me finish here. And in that time is like right now, because we've got, obviously, we had 15 years of Conservatives where they had recommendations to be implemented and they never implemented any of the recommendations. We don't know who's going to be, we've got no guarantee who's going to be in power next.
Yeah.
We don't, yeah.
But
wait, hold on. Sorry, because I just got a text, that's why I had to read it quickly. Yeah, but we don't know who's going to be in power next year. So we don't know if the next party are going to implement any of the recommendations or keep the funding for the inquiry to keep going to find out the results that everyone wants to find out, even though there's been a 2 year look into it by this lady here with recommendations that charities that support the victims are saying that they would rather the recommendations implemented before doing any sort of inquiries, because obviously that stops specific things happening. And even why I agree with them is because obviously, you know, I've read out 10 million different reports on things from institutional racism to whatever else, with recommendations and implementations that they're supposed to be carrying out that they haven't carried out. So my main argument always is like, fuck them doing any more extra reports. If there's any recommendations to be implemented that they find from any of these reports, can we start getting these things implemented? So we don't have to keep having another report on any of this sort of stuff there. And if we do have a report, it will be into any of the ways that people have been able to get through with the recommendations or the implementations in place or whatever. So
listen, I completely understand that. It's a like a common sense approach to it, but just let me explain. There's two things that I want to explain: a personal one and a non-personal one.
Please don't tell us about your family members, please.
Non-personal is that if there is a specific, and maybe if it's not an inquiry, maybe if it's like a case study, if there's a specific case study into grooming gangs, I feel like that needs to be published separate, or even if it has been published separate and people have missed it, they need to highlight that and say, look, No, we have investigated that specifically. We're not just lumping it in with every other case of child abuse. We understand that this angered a lot of people and there were specific motives behind it, so it deserved its own investigation. Look, we have done that, and here's the investigation and these are the findings. I feel like they need to do that if they have done it. If they haven't done it, that's one of the issues. The other part is, yes, bringing my family into it. My nana was part of an inquiry, and it took a specific inquiry into Nazareth House, not just child sexual abuse, but into the Sisters of Nazareth and that specific branch of the Catholic Church. It's a very specific branch. It took a specific inquiry into it. I feel like if it was just a general inquiry into sexual abuse, a lot of those cases would never have come to light, and those victims would never have got justice. So I understand why. I don't understand why we can't just do it. And if we haven't already done it, if we've already done it, then we need to show it and highlight it and prop it up more. If we haven't, then we need to do it.
Yeah.
All right, two good points.
What would be nice
I just want to highlight something quickly. You know the difference between the Catholic Church and Pakistan as a country, right? It's two completely different things, isn't it?
No, you're just ridiculous. You just
like you can carry out an investigation into the Catholic Church, but you can't carry out an investigation into Pakistanis.
It took. What do you mean Pakistanis? Are you saying that it's all Pakistanis?
You just said it's the majority, isn't it? Not 100%.
No, I didn't say it's the majority.
90 something.
I didn't say it's the majority of Pakistanis. The grooming
that's what we concluded before you jumped on.
Is made up of the majority of Pakistanis.
Yeah. We're not arguing that.
And you don't just look at every Pakistani and think grooming gang. No, you look at all the correlations between all the cases, like takeaways, specific takeaways.
You see grooming gangs, though, it does come
not every takeaway.
Hey, Luke, grooming gangs does come under child exploitation, though, right? Because
of course it does. Yeah,
it's one of the tactics of exploiting vulnerable children, or even vulnerable adults as well, or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like so
would child trafficking and like say for instance child slave labor.
Because that's why they brought in a child. That's why they brought in the slave the slavery sort of laws or whatever for people that take people's children.
Just let me make a point. Just let me make the point then before you. So let me make the point before you come back to it. So, child slave labour also falls under the umbrella of child abuse. And if the government was to come out and say, right, we've done an investigation on child abuse, that's fine. It's not going to highlight the fact that there's some children out there. Yes, some get abused, but some are kept as slaves and are abused. I feel like if it wasn't for specific inquiries into like child slave labour, a lot of those cases wouldn't be highlighted. That's why I feel like specific, especially when it's a pandemic, especially when it's happened more than just a couple of times in one town. If it's happened up and down the country, that's why it needs an inquiry. I don't know why we should.
An inquiry into what?
But I don't know why. It's been highly politicised. I agree by both sides. I've both highly politicised it.
Listen, the inquiry,
Luke,
has been
you
done.
Saying, if there was no, hey, Khan, hold on a sec, yeah. If there, like Khan was just saying there, yeah. Say there was never no inquiry done or whatever, I'll be on the side of the guy saying, get an inquiry done or whatever. But because I actually don't mind if they do another inquiry anyway, yeah. But my main thing would be to fight for the implementations to be, or the recommendations to be implemented as soon as possible, if not straight away, because obviously those are the findings in it. And then if there needs to be further inquiries and whatever to get further justice for people that might not feel that they've been able to get justice through these new recommendations that's been implemented, like get that done then, innit? But the first step would be to get the
recommendation. Right, listen. So say, for instance, they've done a genuine inquiry into child sexual abuse. I agree with JB that I think it's too broad, and we all live in a different age now, and maybe they do need to focus not entirely on Pakistani grooming gangs, but on grooming itself and how children are getting groomed online politically. Some may argue that Elon Musk are grooming people, some argue that Tommy Robinson's grooming people, some argue Abu Hamza's grooming people. Maybe there needs to be an inquiry into grooming overall that can include the Pakistani grooming gangs. I think that would tick the boxes. But to completely deny the people
I think that the statement that the guy made when he just spoke, I don't know if you heard it, Luke, that Rupert guy in Parliament. He said that the epidemic or the problem was Pakistanis targeting white working class girls. That
Yeah,
if you put
that's
that
the main
within
issue. Yeah.
speech marks, that is what people specifically want a thing done on,
Yeah, they do.
a separate inquiry on that one thing. But the thing is, you got to realise that when they're doing an inquiry that costs all this much money and takes all this much time, yeah, they have to start from the general and whittle it down to the specific, right?
But they haven't though. That's what I'm saying. They've just
But
done
the
it
woman
too
saying
broad
she
and
she
like tick the
spent
box.
2 years looking into grooming gangs, right? But because she didn't name them as Pakistani, then the right wing have now got an issue saying, well, this piece of article doesn't cover everything we want covered. That's the problem. You're saying to the government, go and carry out a report, hand it to us, and give us a weapon that we can use to beat a particular community with. And the government's saying,
Khan,
wait, let me land.
Listen, yeah.
Let me quickly land it.
Just forget that. Just don't forget there's this victims, Khan, and regardless of which side politicise it.
Right, so that's what the government's
you're
saying.
doing the exact same there, though. You're saying.
Listen,
No,
we're focusing on the victims. We're not doing.
You're not though. You're not though. You're not though. You're saying all you're bothered about is the fact that there's right wingers calling for it.
Guys, hold on, yeah. Hold on, yeah. Because when it connects to the Wi-Fi, I'm not going to be able to hear the video in it, and my battery's going to die in a sec still, yeah. So let me quickly play this video before I go into the house. So
go on then.
Literally not even a minute left or whatever, innit?
Say with the deepest respect to all of those calling for a national inquiry, rather than that, put all of your energy in getting these recommendations adopted. Because with the best will in the world, and you all know me, I'm not making a party political point here, with the best will in the world, another inquiry will mean another 10 years of waiting. And what I want to see, and I truly believe we all want to see, is child protection right now, including the. So I urge, please, members, consider what you're doing. Use the report as the time to make the amendments to get the changes you want.
Sir Gavin.
See, but the recommendations are good, and yeah, I agree. Recommendation, but that's only going to change like the future. The fact that there's been like police forces who have admitted that they refuse to investigate over fear of causing like racial tensions, that is a major failure to those victims, and that needs to be. Why has there not been anybody who's? There might have been people to been forced to step down. People might have been arrested for it. Police officers might have been arrested for it. But I feel like that needs to be highlighted because clearly
here's the problem, Luke.
The only way to stem that anger is by educating or.
Here's the problem with that. What you're saying, yeah?
Let me play this.
If we start,
let me play this.
Go on, play it, bro. Play it. I'm gonna quickly say one thing. Yeah.
Make a point, and then I'll make.
Quickly is that if we target, all right, people that in social service and the police were wrong, but if we target them and we find them, how can we then ask them to protect the children when we're like targeting them for not doing that?
We replace them with people who will.
No, but if you just listen to the woman when she spoke, she's saying that the people that we're charging with looking after children, we can't then turn around and reprimand them for.
Yeah, we can. If they failed, we can. Yeah, we can. If they took up a high position,
they won't want to do the job. They won't want to do that job. You've damaged.
Can I just respond to you, Can I just respond to you?
Listen to what I'm saying to you. Let me make my point.
I've already listened and you've not let me respond to you.
If we do damage to the police force and to social services, that means less children will be protected.
Mm-hmm. So if people have failed in the job and have done so on purpose to the extent where children have carried on being groomed and raped, then I don't think that should just be passed by because they won't want to do the job. I don't think they deserve to have the position, especially paid handsomely for doing so. I feel like they should at minimum, please can't let me finish. At minimum, they should be resigning. At most, they should be investigated, potentially arrested, and people with more morals and decency should be taking hold of those positions.
Anyway,
the only way of changing the society, is actually changing it.
Go on, Billy.
Richard Tice.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I will be voting for this amendment and against this bill, not only for the catastrophic damage that it does to the academy movement, as so amply explained by the previous contributor, the Honourable Lady, but also because it fails to take opportunity to have a national, dedicated public inquiry into the child rape and grooming scandal. And that's because, yes, victims and survivors want action now. But also, victims and survivors want answers. And I fear there is a great misunderstanding and misinformation about the previous national inquiry led by Professor Jay, because that was an all-encompassing umbrella inquiry into child sex exploitation. But what it didn't cover, in any detail whatsoever, I will give way to the Honourable Lady.
Would you agree that there was a 2-year inquiry on organised networks and sexual exploitation, which is grooming gangs in the language of the inquiry, and that the...
There we go. That was the thing, Bob. Let me rewind that a bit still so you can get the name of that.
I don't think she named it, did she? She just said there was a report. Tell us what it was.
She named it, didn't it? She named what they gave the actual proper name for the grooming gangs. But listen, when she speaks here.
This bill, not only for the catastrophic damage that it does to the academy movement, as so amply explained by the previous contributor, the Honourable Lady, but also because it fails to take opportunity to have a national, dedicated public inquiry into the child rape and grooming scandal. And that's because, yes, victims and survivors want action now. But also, victims and survivors want answers. And I fear there is a great misunderstanding and misinformation about the previous national inquiry led by Professor Jay, because that was an all-encompassing umbrella inquiry into child sex exploitation. But what it didn't cover, in any detail whatsoever, I will give way to the Honourable Lady.
Would you agree that there was a 2-year inquiry on organised networks and sexual exploitation, which is grooming gangs?
Organised
networks.
Sexual exploitation. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to keep
2
playing
years.
while you're doing a search for that.
In the language of the inquiry, and that the Chief Executive of the National Association of People Abused in Childhood, NAPAC, has said that we urge the government to focus on delivering improvements rather than proposing new inquiries that may potentially delay action even further.
Yeah, you hear that, yeah? So that NAPAC, like one of the people that leading charities that deal with people in these grooming gang situations and other exploitation cases or whatever, are saying that it's best to implement the recommendations rather than do a inquiry. You know what it is, yeah? I get the people that are upset and they want to think of and this, that, and the other.
Of course.
Like sometimes we do have to listen to like the
people,
the experts in their field.
Yeah, the experts as well.
To take.
It's a balance of. It's both ways, isn't it? It's a balance of both ways. You got to have what the people want to get satisfied, like what the people are asking for.
Yeah,
but it seems that there's a subsection of people, a specific group of people, namely the right wingers, who want to see Pakistani in the title of the fucking investigation. And unless they see that, they're not happy.
Another point today that I feel like both Labour and Conservatives currently still losing ground with is that instead of speaking to their local people and people that would be potential voters, answering awkward questions and having discussions with them so they can get factual information rather than information from people on like social media and other places, is like they could sorry, there was a bit of, you know what it was, yeah? The light was flashing on something and it looked like it went washed up still, but then when I moved it, it just moved. Anyway, so still, yeah. So, do you know what? Yeah, I kind of lost what I was saying. Still, what was I saying there?
No, you're saying something about the people.
Yeah, the people that have been attacked or groomed in these sort of things. They're like the same sort of thing I was saying yesterday. That, in my opinion, I would think that they would rather the recommendations implemented before any sort of inquiry or any of that sort of stuff happens. But the other point I was making, I remembered now, was about both Labour and Conservatives, maybe Liberal Democrats and even Green Party, getting their ground game better, like how Reform Party have done their ground game, right? Because it's like they're around speaking to local people in these different areas that are showing that being sympathetic to causes that they might be championing, and so and so, and that's building up the momentum behind them, right? So it's the same thing that Jeremy Corbyn done when he was in Labour, right? The ground game was good, innit? You could speak to people, on the average person on the street, people that might be sympathetic to your cause, even people that are unsympathetic to your cause, to explain the reasons why you're championing what you're championing, and even the facts behind some of the things that might just be conspiracy theorists or just straight misinformation. You can say, if you could give the people actual proper information that
satisfies
removes the
them.
misinformation, then the majority of sensible people are going to listen to what you're saying, and they'll be happy that you've even took time out of your day to answer these questions, rather than them having to go down all these different rabbit holes to find out what's the truth, what's not. You know, like, anyone can get finessed by some of these YouTube videos, right? The man's got a good studio, good lighting, speaks well, the video is well edited, and so on, so it could just sound like it's facts, right? Without us fact checking.
Yeah, the man got a whole TV channel, bro. Talk TV or whatever. They're finessing the whole country.
I've got an objection to make so far. I mean, you know, Billy, it's a long ass fucking report, so I will keep reading. But so it's got some bullet points of what it covers in, like, this networking, whatever it is, and
social networking.
Yeah, it's no the completely put me off there. Organized networks. It's still not really highlighting that particular.
I don't know. It's obviously, you want a specific thing
well, it does
to,
make,
like,
I mean,
Asian grooming gangs for them to.
Yeah, which I don't understand if they are mentioning, like, the Roman Catholic ones, but they're not mentioning anything about. I can't see anything here about the takeaways, and I think that's what people need. People need, like, an investigation into.
Look, what are you saying, that a lot of these crimes happen?
One minute, who's the girl who was reportedly to be chopped up in Blackpool and put into a fucking kebab? That's come from government.
Yeah, was that to do with this as well?
Come on, that specifically needs to be mentioned. Like, I think I don't know. It's an injustice.
Yeah, but you know what it is, though.
Yeah, but ain't not on the roll of criminals.
Yeah, but in the inquiry, like, obviously them requesting that they mention specific certain cases or
but they can't.
Big headline cases.
But they have done, because they've done the Roman Catholic.
But that's an institution. I keep telling you.
But from
well, they called it an organised network.
All the different. For them to list every single headline part and give it its own specific part in the inquiry, or to investigate the things that, like they were saying. You see, like they were saying, they want to create the profile of the scenario that happened in it. Like, so the scenario of the people that they was around, or the area they was in, the background of the people that was abusing them, all that sort of stuff there. Like, that's part of the going
the
against
organised
the
network,
right? Because it's building a profile of any of the people that are taking advantage of.
Yeah, so I will say it gives good recommendations, and it highlights it, and it seems like it's going to bring more awareness to it. But I still don't think that tackles the problem that everybody wants, and like an investigation, and for people to
because people want specific grooming gang talk on,
but people want it. But people wanted that for the
grooming gang.
But people wanted that for the Roman Catholic Church as well, didn't we? We wanted that for the church. So I get where people are going to say, well, why can't we have one?
So if it was,
the church is just one example. Like, there's been plenty of inquiries into specific cases of it.
Why can't I keep saying to you that you're going against personal people versus institution? Because like you were saying there, for instance, the Roman Catholic Church is like an institution, and you can look into the institution of the Roman Catholic Church from top to bottom within the UK. Pakistani Muslims within the UK that might be involved in grooming is not like an institution, right? So they can't look from top to bottom within the thing. So they basically, people have to come forward and say, and give accusations of people committing certain crimes for them to actually start even getting investigated.
Yeah.
So it's
yeah.
kind of hard.
I'll
It's,
give
it's
you-
like it's
let
a
me say
different
one thing to back
investigation
you up, really.
to carry out specific
There was-
investigations into a church group or
Yeah.
even a religious
Any group.
sect,
Look, what about
a Muslim
McDonald's?
sect or whatever, versus an ethnic sect of certain people that might be all of the same faith.
Look, there's a thing now about McDonald's management asking for sex from workers to get extra shifts, and that could actually end up being an inquiry into McDonald's practices and why they've allowed this and why they've ignored like complaints from girls who are saying, well, if I want a bit of overtime, I've got to basically suck some geezer's dick, and they've complained about it. So that could end up being an inquiry into McDonald's, but to do an inquiry into Pakistanis in general sounds a bit like a witch hunt.
No, I think you could, if you make it into a witch hunt, then it'll be a witch hunt.
Yeah, but it's the government's job to avoid things like that.
No, it's the government's job to hold people to
guys.
account. And
Listen, let me play the rest of this video for you guys, yeah, and then you lot can have a quick chat after that, yeah. But I'm gonna have to jump off in a second because I needed to lock it off a little while ago still. But I'm gonna leave you on the panel to chat for
just before you do that, because somebody put something about Jimmy Savile. This is what I mean. Like instantly, it's been politicized. And well, what about Jimmy? I agree, but I've googled here. There was a same level of inquiry, so an independent inquiry has been done into Jimmy Savile. But who's been like brought to justice about Jimmy Savile? Like there was, how many times did we hear that people knew about it? Yeah, they've not been brought to courts and shit. So I agree, Jimmy Savile. There should be an independent inquiry, a national, not
It's
sorry, not
the inquiries,
a
it's the
national inquiry into that
recommendations,
as well.
man. They never carry out.
That'll fix the future.
Banana
Who's
taps in
going
the chat, yeah.
to hold people to account for all the fucking dead people that he fucked about with? Like there needs to be people held to account for that.
There's been like, is it 60 or 70 something inquiries, and less than 10 of them have been had things implemented from them.
But that, you could argue, someone argue that was all done under a Conservative government. Now we've got a Labour. Maybe things will be different. Maybe change will happen.
No, it's Labour or Conservative. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I agree.
When there's a government in place here that is willing to implement any of the changes that have come out from any of these findings, then really and truly, the people should be trying to grab that with two hands, because there isn't many governments that.
No, I think we have. No, I think we have
actually,
implemented. There has been some changes recently.
But things on a local level, that's been on a local level. That's why
national,
MP Jess, what's her name? That lady, Jess, what was her name? Jess Phillips. She was the one saying that when things happen on a local level, you actually see changes, because the local authorities do make changes that affect people's lives. That's the whole point of it. So when there's an overall general government level inquiry, that's got to filter down to local level action.
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody's arguing with the recommendations that they're making. I think the argument is that they're not following through on the recommendations.
But they get implemented on a local level.
Yes, let me finish, please. But the recommendations don't hold people to account. The recommendations of how to... how
you want a witch hunt?
No, no, you don't want to... What do you mean a witch hunt? Do you not think that people should be held to account for the crimes?
Obviously, but what percentage of people would you say?
Listen to this point, guys. Luke and Khan, 68 inquiries have taken place since 1990. Only 6 have been followed up by select committees to see what government did as a result of the inquiry. 68 since 1990, and only
maybe it should be one every 5 years or something.
Yeah, because they don't. This is the point, right? It's usually a hush. Basically, an inquiry. An inquiry is basically like a pacifier, right? So they just give you the inquiry. We're doing the investigation. It's going to take 5 years, 10 years, 7 years, or whatever. So okay, they're doing the investigation now. Then at the end of the 7 years, and unless there's enough people making up noise for the thing still to happen,
to be actioned,
they might not even implement any of the recommendations at the end of this new inquiry. So
that's why I think we need
that's willing to implement recommendations.
You can't just be like, it is what it is, though. Like they always do it.
No, it is what it is. That's not the answer, though, bro. No one's not saying that it is what it is, right?
No, that's the kind of like attitude that I'm not saying you have. Like, no, we've done an inquiry. The recommendations don't get made. It's like you got to pull people up for that. But no, yeah, I get it. Yeah, people pull people up for not following through the recommendations, but still
why
have
I'm
the
saying
inquiry
that.
as well.
Yeah, why I'm giving that as an example is to show how inquiries are used as sticking plasters or pacifiers for the baying mob. You know, because like they said, there's been 68 inquiries and only 6 have been followed up since 1990. That's pacifying or sticking plastering to a lot of the things that people have actually have valid complaints about, for them to even make a public inquiry where they spent taxpayers' money, done years worth of investigation to come up with conclusions, implementations that they're supposed to be implementing. They ain't done none of them.
So, what if people wanted like a public inquiry into these recent riots?
What's that? The race riots?
Yeah, would you support that?
I mean, that would be a bit of a waste of time, though, right? Because the only thing that hasn't really happened is that the main
people haven't been held to account. Exactly, that's the whole point, really.
The main big people, or
have
not
been
the
held to account.
the main talking people, haven't had any questions to answer, and it seems like because they may have money or enough money to fight a legal case of that size efficiently, might be the main reason why they're not even answering any questions. I'm not too sure. That's just my own theory or whatever. But
so listen,
like,
so
working class people like the minions. If me and you go out and we get amped up by these talking heads online, and we go out and act on any of the stuff they're saying, like, we're going jail tomorrow for that. Do you get me?
Yeah, no, yeah.
And these fucking man.
Well, listen, one thing that's going to come from it then, at least, is that I think it's going to bring more people's awareness to the fact that the lower class always get it in the fucking ass, and the upper class or people in positions of power seem to wiggle away from it. Yeah. On both sides. The left have done it, right did it, Danny Tomo did it, Nick Knowles did it. Yeah, there's been everyday fucking Karen and Carl who are now fucking vaping inside jails because they can't get rollies.
I'll tell you why I don't agree with the Nick Knowles argument or whatever. Although Hope Not Hate do things that I myself might not agree with in Thingwobs here. When it was the thing like saying about the acid attack, for instance, or whatever, because there wasn't like an actual attacks followed out because in retaliation to anyone making said posts.
No, I've heard that before. I don't know how true it is. I've heard people say that, like, yeah, people have retaliated to that, people have reacted to that, and that's what an inquiry would find out whether that was true or false.
There's no police evidence or no YouTube video, public TikTok videos of people attacking people, citing Nick Knowles' post as the reason why.
No, but there was videos of white people attacking black people solely, attacking brown people, and vice versa, brown people attacking white people. So I think, like I say, it could be completely bullshit. Like, there was a lot of rumours that went round about that time, but an inquiry would provide a lot of facts, wouldn't it? Surely inquiries can't cost that much money.
A million reasons to have inquiries now.
I mean, listen. I mean, I've never known like a fucking socialist humanitarian to be so against inquiries in their life. But listen, it's not. I can't see it being that much money. I think that it would, especially for the damage I think this is going to cause. Valley, do you not think that this is going to cause?
It cost 110 million to carry out that inquiry into the Thingwob, and
we can afford that. How much do we fucking chuck away on hotels each day? How much distrust and like is this going to cause with people? I think it's. I don't know. It's just going to backfire on the government.
Nah, I think if the government actually put some of these recommendations in place that can convict people from the past, present, and protect people in the future, then they'll be able to pacify the second inquiry crowd, because it will show that the recommendations from the first original inquiry has been able to bear fruit in convictions.
Yeah, but I still have to say, Veli, I'm not conceding on the fact that inquiry Clearly there's a lot of people out there who feel very strongly about having an independent inquiry into that grooming gang specifically, wrongfully or rightfully, regardless of your opinion on it.
I think that,
to say that there's been an inquiry into it, I don't think is correct. I don't think it's enough's been done.
I think on that point, yeah, is that the Labour Party should be meeting local constituents that have issues around that, so they can answer questions within that or things along that sort of lines before it gets because it's too late now anyway, but it's already gone down the conspiracy road, and obviously Elon Musk is spazzing out and blah blah blah, so you know what I mean, like they've already admitted they support local inquiries. Your argument is word if you support local ones.
I've got to pull you up about something anyway.
Go on.
Elon Musk's grandmother.
What's she, an English lady, yeah?
Yeah, British then.
Yeah.
So
Karen.
He has a right to comment on this country as much as you have about Jamaica. As much as Khan has about fucking Turkey. Alright. Yeah, he might not
Turkey, I keep telling you,
he might not be able to cover those, right? But he can certainly hear his opinion. Checkmate. Right, anyway, on that note, guys, I've got to go and get some food. I'm starving. I think next door cooking and it smells delicious, so I need to make food. Enjoy. It's been a good conversation for once.
I got to fly out myself as well, man. So, man, you know. But let me run the rest of this video before we're done, innit? Before we're done the dance, you know? Let it play.
You know, I shall come to the specific point she makes, because the reality is that this Professor J inquiry, it was an overarching inquiry. Its references specifically to grooming gangs was minuscule. It only mentioned Rotherham. There are dozens and dozens of towns, primarily Labour-led towns, where we know that horrific things have taken place. And victims and survivors not only want action, they want answers. And this is an opportunity for both things to take place. So the Honourable Lady refers to the need for action. Surely, in this great nation of ours, we can do both in parallel. Surely we can say, yes, these are the actions required from the recommendations of the J Inquiry, but alongside that, to continue with public confidence, to get the answers that victims and survivors want, is to say, actually, we need to keep exploring in specific towns. And it's not good enough. I will give way to the Honourable Lady.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. If I can just correct him, the inquiry was part of the overarching inquiry. There were 12 separate inquiries, one of which lasted 2 years, with a report that's 185 pages, was specific about grooming gangs. And if I can just ask him, what more information do we need? We know who the perpetrators are, we know the model, we know the victims. What we want is prosecution and support for those victims.
I'm grateful.
Hey, hey, Luke. Yeah. Yo, did you hear that, yeah? Yeah. So, the inquiry things in the chat, I hope you heard that, right? Like, they know who the perpetrators are, they know who the victims are. There's a specific 2-year, 100 and something page inquiry on grooming gangs. So, the specific inquiry that you're asking for has already been carried out. Now what?
Have I told you, unless it's got Pakistani in the title, they don't care.
Yeah, but the grooming gangs inquiry, has been carried out.
Of course.
As this lady said, there's 180 something page specific one, specifically on grooming gangs. Yeah? Yeah? That's funny, isn't it? Yeah. These men are such comedians. Oh, mate. Anyway, let it play.
To the Honourable Lady, she's quite right in that victims and survivors, where we know, want answers, want action and prosecution. But I regret to say to the Honourable Lady, there are many towns where people don't know the perpetrators and the truth has not been exposed. And the reality is that many councils have a vested interest in not digging into the truth. because it will expose the failings of their own councillors and officers. And that's why we have to have a national dedicated inquiry into this horrific issue. And I believe that we should be ambitious and say, it doesn't need to take 3 years or 5 years or 7 years, for heaven's sake. Let's do it in 1 year. Let's get it done. Let's have the appropriate numbers of people inquiring into it, town after town after town. Let's examine it and get the answers, because that, I think, is what will restore the confidence of the British people, so that we get action immediately and answers within a year or so. Surely, as a nation, we can do this. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Marie Tidball. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I first met my constituent, Claire Throssell, at a remembrance service at my old secondary school in Penistone. Every year, the head teacher marks the deaths of Claire's sons, former pupils Jack and Paul Sykes, who died at the hands of their known domestically abusive father in a house fire he set alight whilst on permitted contact visit. However, the names of most of the children who've been murdered at the hands of their domestically abusive parents in the decade since Claire's boys were killed remain unspoken. But we must not forget them. Between 2005 and 2015, Women's Aid research found 19 children, including Jack and Paul, had been killed as a result of unsafe contact with abusive parents. These children have to remain nameless to avoid causing further distress to their families, and subsequently many more will also have followed, uncounted, unrecalled. The scale of those children at risk may be even higher. In the year up to March 2024, 215,640 assessments identified that either the child or parent were experiencing domestic abuse in child in need social care cases in England and Wales. One name is sadly known to us only too well: Sarah Sharif. Her tragic death makes the need for action on this issue all the more poignant. With the sentencing of her murderers taking place just before Christmas, the Children's Wellbeing and Schools Bill before us today will help protect children like Sarah. It creates a safer and higher quality education system for every child by introducing children not in school registers to help ensure no child falls through the gaps when home educated. Our government is taking strong action in response to Sarah's death through the bill's establishment of a single unique identifier for children and introduction of new duties which will improve information sharing and within agencies, bringing together multi-agency child protection teams from education, social work and the police. I commend the work of the Secretary of State for Education for bringing forward a bill so transformative in its work on child protection, a bill which is powerful in strengthening regulations on the use of agency workers in children's social care. Claire Throssell, my constituent, promised her 2 boys that no other children would die in the same tragic circumstances that her son did. I'm proud that our mission-led government includes halving violence against women and girls in a decade and recognises the need to use every government tool available to target perpetrators and address the root causes of abuse and violence. To achieve this mission and fulfil the promise Claire made to her children will require connecting the incredible strategic work in today's bill with an urgent need to change the law to remove the principle of presumption of contact in the family courts. The principle added via the Children and Families Act 2014 and now found in the Children's Act 1989 currently allows known abusers to have contact with their children, putting those children's lives, lives at risk. Just as the Children's Wellbeing and Schools Bill implements child-centred government, emphatically embedding this in education and children's social care, there must be parallel work to put children first in the family courts. This is an important piece of the jigsaw puzzle to complement the work being enacted by the bill today. I commend the bill to this House. It brings forward a landmark approach to safeguarding children at risk, and I am proud to support it.
Julian Smith.
Mr. Speaker, could I firstly pay tribute to the Honourable...
Yeah. All right, bro. You got anything to
Yeah,
say on that
man.
one, cuz?
We got that woman with no hands. Big her up, man.
I mean, guys, we're gonna mention that still, but
Nah, man, you got to, man. She's doing good work, man. And we got to remember all the children out there. Look, all these children getting killed by their own families, man. Like, there's a lot of work
I'll
that
tell you
needs
what,
to be
actually,
done, man.
yeah.
After 14 years of conservatives, country's in a state, bro.
I got
Social
an
services in a
ex-video.
state, police are in a state, everything's in a fucking state. And this is all the knock-on effect of that. It's all the knock-on effects.
Endowment Foundation found that school breakfasts can help deliver 2 months' worth.
Alright, but this one's just gonna cut off it randomly, yeah, car. Once I'm done, I'm done in it.
Oh, I'm jumping off now then. Big up yourself, bro. Big up.
One in
Big
3
up yourself,
children are already at risk of future food-related ill health, such as type 2 diabetes or heart disease, by the age of 10. That's 1 in 3 children. By providing a breakfast which is nutritious, we can also ensure children are starting their day at school ready to learn. However, I am concerned that this bill does not include any kind of nationwide monitoring system for the food which will be served in these breakfast clubs. This is because the school food standards set out over 10 years ago are still not being enforced. This puts children at risk, doesn't necessarily mean it'll happen, but at risk of being served poor quality breakfasts under this scheme. So we need the recommendations around Ofsted and enforcement of standards that were set out in the excellent school food plan back in 2013 to be put in place alongside this rollout. And I do hope that this will be considered at later stages and iterations of this bill. Speaking of health outcomes, it is also a missed opportunity to not include auto-enrolment for free school meals in this bill, as others have already said today. The Department for Education reported that 11% of families nationally who are entitled to claim free school meals have not applied to receive them. This means, as others have said, 470,000 children in England are missing out on their statutory right to a free school meal. And this is due to barriers like complex applications, language or literacy challenges, stigma and low awareness. And the Fix Our Food research programme has worked with 66 local authorities with huge success, but the burden must be taken off local authorities. Data sharing challenges should not prevent children from eating their entitled free school meal. Because free school meals are a statutory scheme, government funding for them should already exist to provide these 470,000 children with a school lunch. So auto-enrolment should not be seen as extra spending. This also would importantly go on to unlock extra vital pupil premium funding too. For example, since 2016, Sheffield City Council has unlocked £3.8 million in extra pupil premium funding every single year to support 5,400 children. And this is just one example of many available. So, including provisions in this bill to provide these children with a free lunch would have a very low cost but with extremely high impact. Free school meals empowered by the new breakfast programme are shown to be beneficial for both attainment and attendance at school. In fact, the case for universal free school meals is also a no-brainer. Impact on Urban Health found that for every £1 invested in universal free school meals, it returns £1.71 in core benefits, including massive savings for the NHS and reducing rates of childhood obesity. The London Mayor's groundbreaking scheme to expand free school meals to all primary age pupils has also had unprecedented impacts. 84% of parents said that the scheme had helped or significantly helped their household finances. and an evaluation report was recently released, and I encourage the Minister present and the Secretary of State to read it if she has not done so already. It contains significant findings that more than make the case for universal free school meals to be rolled out. So, alongside hopefully more quality school lunches, I look forward to seeing the success of the Breakfast Club programme as it's rolled out, and I hope that this creates further appetite for better and expanded school food provision in future. Thank you.
Nigel Farage.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I have no doubt this bill is based on socialist dogma. It will reduce choice, it will reduce competition, it will take away parents' freedom to educate at home, ultimately, and I'm against it. And I'll vote against it, and the government will vote for it, and that's how politics in this country works. But how on earth can we look up at the screens and see children's well-being and debate and vote on that when out there in the country our constituents are talking? Well, we used to call it grooming gangs. I think we've moved on now to mass and gang rapes. I've tried a campaign since 2012 for more truth, more honesty about what has really gone on. Although the Labour MP for Keighley, Anne Cryer, was doing this as far back as 2002. But at every attempt to try and have a proper national debate on the scale of this problem, it has been shut down. Now, we thought initially that in half a dozen northern towns there was a serious problem. Mass sexual assaults and rapes of children and young women. But recent research from journalist Charlie Peters at GB News now says he's certain this has taken place in at least 50 different towns in our country, at least 50, and that it's still going on today. I will give way.
Thank you. I really sincerely thank the member for giving way. I appreciate the need to look at these issues in the round. But does he accept that there are measures in this bill that will protect children based on what we already know? That it will help children, stop them being abused and make it harder for groomers to get access to them across this country? And that's what we all want to do, isn't it? I hope he agrees with me.
I don't. No, I don't. And whatever measures are in this bill to protect children, and we all want to see children protected for goodness sake, no, it will not. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. The Prime Minister is doing his best to tell us there's been an inquiry. The J inquiry. Well, there has, and it's 459 pages long. Grooming gangs are not mentioned once. Rotherham is literally mentioned once in passing. And the scope of that inquiry was like a shotgun. It was to cover a whole range of areas in which children were being abused. What we need and what we're calling for is a rifle shot inquiry, one that looks specifically at to what extent were gangs of Pakistani men raping young white girls. Because ultimately, it seems to me there's a deep racist element behind what happened. Now, I might be right, I might be wrong, but doesn't the country deserve a full, open national inquiry? And I'll say this, if the government won't do this, and I do believe there is now overwhelming support on all sides of the political spectrum for this, and Parliament should not be in denial about this. If it doesn't, then we will raise the money at Reform UK and appoint independent arbiters, because we need the truth to be out there. Now I will vote with the amendment that's been put forward by the Leader of the Opposition, although I do note that as Women and Equalities Minister from 2022 to 2024, she didn't meet a single victim of these rapes and never raised the issue once. Insincere though it may be, I will vote for it, we will vote for it, but I beg those on the other side of the House to think, don't you believe that your constituents need to know the truth about this great evil that has happened in our country?
Hear, hear. We have over 60 colleagues hoping to get in, so I will implement a 5-minute time limit. And the next speaker for 5 minutes is Nadia Whitto.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Madam Deputy Speaker, every year around 500,000 children in this country are abused. It likely could be higher because, of course, the vast majority of abuse is hidden. This bill is about safeguarding them. It's about stopping vulnerable children from falling through the cracks, such as through a homeschooled register. It's about trying to prevent horrific crimes like those committed against Sarah Sharif from ever happening again. The Children's Charities Coalition have called it a major step forward. Now, I want to be clear that no party has completely clean hands in this area. Under successive governments, vulnerable children have been systematically failed by the institutions that were supposed to protect them: the police, social services, local authorities, the CPS, their schools. They were disbelieved and their lives were devalued. We in this House owe it to victims and survivors of the past, the present, and sadly the future, to give them justice and protection where the state previously so badly failed. And in order to do that, we cannot turn child sexual abuse and exploitation into a political football. And I want to be clear too that it's by no means all members opposite who are guilty of this. There have been dedicated and powerful advocates for children on both sides of this House. But the Conservative leadership and Reform MPs, marching to the beat of Elon Musk's drum, are plainly weaponising the pain and the trauma of victims for their own political ends. I don't know if they just don't realise how deeply painful and re-traumatising it is for survivors to hear their abuse being spoken about so flippantly and often in graphic terms by people professing to care who didn't act when they had the power to do so, just to bolster their own unrelated political agendas, or if they just don't care. But I implore members opposite to stop. Because when you say that child sexual abuse and exploitation is the result of alien cultures or a multiculturalism project that has failed, you mask the reality, which is that child sexual abuse and exploitation is happening in every area of this country, perpetrated by members of every social class, every race and every religion. The Reform MPs are chuntering opposite. That is a fact, and when you deny that, you are failing victims and survivors. I will in a moment. And when you say that abuse is imported by other cultures, you imply that abuse is the norm and is okay in some cultures towards some victims. It never is. Just as perpetrators are diverse, so are their victims. If you mask the reality, Madam Deputy Speaker, you cannot tackle the problem. The truth is, what the vast, vast majority of these perpetrators have in common is that they are men. Of course, it's not all men, but it's enough men and it's enough victims that male violence is a national emergency, and it is one that this whole House must commit itself to ending. I'll give way.
Do you worry, like me, that this recent attempt to reopen an inquiry in the debate is less about supporting victims and stamping out sexual violence, but more about enticing racial tensions?
I share the honourable member's concerns, and I'd like to take the opportunity to applaud her for the work that she has done over many years in this House on the all-party parliamentary group raising this issue when, before it was politically convenient to do so. Madam Deputy Speaker, I also want to speak about some of the other important aspects of this bill. I'm also thrilled that it includes measures to help with families' costs, so free breakfast clubs for all primary school children. That will boost children's well-being. I'd also like to see us go further still and provide free school meals for all children. This bill also allows the Secretary of State to cap profits of children's home providers, ending the obscene scandal of local authorities forced to shell out huge sums of money to private providers. And finally, I just want to urge that this ambitious and important bill is backed up by even further investment in areas that will improve children's well-being. We need more money for children and adolescent mental health services, for children's social care, and to tackle child poverty.
Anna Sabine.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'm actually standing up to talk about the important issue of school uniform, but I would just like to say that the member for Nottingham East was quite right to point out that child sexual abuse takes place across our society. We've just seen the Archbishop of Canterbury and others in the Church of England resigning over child sexual abuse, and for the member for Clacton to deny that it affects all aspects of society is really for the birds, frankly. On school uniform, I'm a single parent to 2 teenagers, and like many other parents in this place, I know how many expenses are involved in sending children to school. As they grow and progress through school, they require different pairs of shoes, sets of stationery, and money for school trips. State schools should represent a level playing field for children of all backgrounds, where pupils are treated with the same respect and given the same opportunities. I recognise that school uniform allows pupils to go into school with the same appearance and not be discriminated against or bullied for what they wear. However, school uniform is one of the biggest costs in sending children to school, and while I welcome the government's commitment to limiting the number of branded items students are required to have each year, I think that more needs to be done to support parents during the cost of living crisis when they're already facing higher energy bills and food costs. From my experience of sending my daughter to state school, branded school uniform items are being sold for an inflated price from monopoly suppliers compared to those items bought from high street shops and charity shops. This bill talks about restricting schools to 3 branded items of uniform, which, by the way, I don't read as excluding primary schools from letting kids wear ties, but anyway. The bare minimum of 3 branded items of a jumper, a polo shirt and a skirt for my daughter's school costs over double that than from a high street shop. For a family with 3 children to have 2 sets of 3 branded items per year costs over £300 compared to £108 from my local supermarket in Frome, nearly 3 times as much. This doesn't even account for a sports kit and shoes, or for the fact that children often require new items each year as they grow. There are also parts of my constituency of Frome and East Somerset which operate a 3-tier school system, meaning children move around 3 different schools with 3 different uniforms before they're 16. This can mean that parents have to adapt to 3 totally different uniforms, colours and requirements. We should aim to strike a balance between students looking smart and not making uniforms overly complicated and exclusive. The more simple the uniform, which is based on staple and easily available items and colours, the more reusable. We should foster an environment where school clothes can be easily handed down through families, regardless of gender, and exchanged between families, either through the school or through charity shops, instead of focusing on brand new items for each child. This also reduces clothing and textile waste. I would ask the Minister to consider, for example, why 3 items was chosen rather than perhaps 1, a school tie or jumper, which makes students easily identifiable as from a particular school, but which leaves maximum options for parents to buy the other uniform elements from other retailers. Or indeed, what other additional measures could be taken to keep down the cost of uniform. Kitting a child out for a new term at school is an expensive business.
What she's talking about, is that children at secondary school and primary school nowadays have to have branded uniform, but it's like they've made it so you only have to buy a minimum of 3 branded items. But she's saying they should make it less like just like the branded. When I was in school, it was just the jumper that you had to have, innit? The actual school jumper, and then you could get the rest of the shit from market or whatever. You know what I mean? So that's the point that she's making, that they should bring it down, the requirements, to just 1, to the branded school jumper or tie, so the parents that haven't got the money for the uniform can still get the same uniform from Asda or Tesco or wherever for the same sort of for the cheaper price. Because more times the logo, my son's PE socks cost a madness, innit? Like PE socks, crazy. And then like fucking my daughter's uniform for her secondary school was a madness, and luckily she ain't there no more. But obviously my son's still in secondary school, his uniform cost quite a lot. But
sons for their primary school, they've got a branded uniform as well. You know what I mean? Like, so, yeah, man. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? So think about this year. There's some parents that haven't really got the bread to be buying uniform, school shoes. But you know, my kids are running through at least 3-4 school shoes per year. It's like every term you have to get them a new pair of school shoes or whatever. So, yo, if you haven't got the bread, it's gonna be peak, innit? And really and truly, like, the main reason they're there is to learn, right? Not for no fashion show. So they should do that still. The branded uniform, one piece, you know? Yeah. Yeah, them way there. They should just give you the school badge and you can show it on. Like the old days. Alright. Child benefit will cover uniform costs. In your school. Not in my youth school, cuz. Mad.
Yes, and anything the government can do to support parents in keeping these costs down would be most welcome.
Yeah. Jake Richards.
Alright, pros, man. God damn. I can run that video again. Well, then it don't for it. If I play it from so and so, then it from the
Endowment Foundation found that school breakfast.
Denial about this. If it doesn't, then we will raise the money at Reform UK and appoint independent. We need the.
So, Nigel Farage said he's willing to raise money for an independent inquiry into the specific grooming gang scenarios that he wants to investigate. Yeah, I think we should do it still. You know what I mean? Like, because obviously the government ain't gonna do the specific investigation that these men are asking for. Not in my school means that I can't remember how much child benefit is that. Everyone gets child benefit, like £30-40 a week, a month or something. I can't even remember what it is. Whatever it is, yeah. Whatever child benefit costs you, the school uniform costs more than child benefit. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I say. When I say, in a fit out, passive, touch a button. But yeah. That's true. But that's why they're saying about making it like one labeled thing, innit? So, because you know the school uniform suppliers, they got a monopoly on selling you branded uniform. Do you hear me? So that's the point. Why they're saying that. Black people do. They take the piss, right? Yeah, people take the piss, man. So, what's that? Like, listen, I gotta hurry up still, man. God damn, it's getting mad.
Truth to be out there. Now, I will vote with the amendment that's been put forward by the Leader of the Opposition, although I do note that as Women and Equalities Minister from 2022 to 2024, she didn't meet a single victim of these rapes and never raised the issue once. Insincere though it may be, I will vote for it, we will vote for it, but I beg those on the other side of the House to think, don't you believe that your constituents need to know the truth about this great evil that has happened in our country?
Hear. We have over 60 colleagues hoping to get in, so I will implement a 5-minute time limit. And the next speaker for 5 minutes is Nadia Whitto.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Madam Deputy Speaker, every year around 500,000 children in this country are abused. It likely could be higher because, of course, the vast majority of abuse is hidden. This bill is about safeguarding them. It's about stopping vulnerable children from falling through the cracks, such as through a homeschooled register. It's about trying to prevent horrific crimes like those committed against Sarah Sharif from ever happening again. The Children's Charities Coalition have called it a major step forward. Now, I want to be clear that no party has completely clean hands in this area. Under successive governments, vulnerable children have been systematically failed by the institutions that were supposed to protect them: the police, social services, local authorities, the CPS, their schools. They were disbelieved and their lives were devalued. We in this House owe it to victims and survivors of the past, the present, and sadly the future, to give them justice and protection where the state previously so badly failed. And in order to do that, we cannot turn child sexual abuse and exploitation into a political football. And I want to be clear too that it's by no means all members opposite who are guilty of this. There have been dedicated and powerful advocates for children on both sides of this House. But the Conservative leadership and Reform MPs, marching to the beat of Elon Musk's drum, are plainly weaponising the pain and the trauma of victims for their own political ends. I don't know if they just don't realise how deeply painful and re-traumatising it is for survivors to hear their abuse being spoken about so flippantly and often in graphic terms by people professing to care who didn't act when they had the power to do so, just to bolster their own unrelated political agendas, or if they just don't care. But I implore members opposite to stop. Because when you say that child sexual abuse and exploitation is the result of alien cultures or a multiculturalism project that has failed, you mask the reality, which is that child sexual abuse and exploitation is happening in every area of this country, perpetrated by members of every social class, every race and every religion. The Reform MPs are chuntering opposite. That is a fact, and when you deny that, you are failing victims and survivors. I will in a moment. And when you say that abuse is imported by other cultures, you imply that abuse is the norm and is okay in some cultures towards some victims. It never is. Just as perpetrators are diverse, so are their victims. If you mask the reality, Madam Deputy Speaker, you cannot tackle the problem. The truth is, what the vast majority of these perpetrators have in common is that they are men. Of course, it's not all men, but it's enough men and it's enough victims that male violence is a national emergency, and it is one that this whole House must commit itself to ending. I'll give way.
Does you worry, like me, that this recent attempt to reopen an inquiry in the debate is less about supporting victims and stamping out sexual violence, but more about enticing racial tensions?
I share the honourable member's concerns, and I'd like to take the opportunity to applaud her for the work that she has done over many years in this House on the all-party parliamentary group raising this issue when, before it was politically convenient to do so. Madam Deputy Speaker, I also want to speak about some of the other important aspects of this bill. I'm also thrilled that it includes measures to help with families' costs, so free breakfast clubs for all primary school children. That will boost children's well-being. I'd also like to see us go further still and provide free school meals for all children. This bill also allows the Secretary of State to cap profits of children's home providers, ending the obscene scandal of local authorities forced to shell out huge sums of money to private providers. And finally, I just want to urge that this ambitious and important bill is backed up by even further investment in areas that will improve children's well-being. We need more money for children and adolescent mental health services, for children's social care, and to tackle child poverty.
Anna Sabine.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'm actually standing up to talk about the important issue of school uniform, but I would just like to say that the member for Nottingham East was quite right to point out that child sexual abuse takes place across our society. We've just seen the Archbishop of Canterbury and others in the Church of England resigning over child sexual abuse, and for the member for Clacton to deny that it affects all aspects of society is really for the birds, frankly. On school uniform, I'm a single parent to 2 teenagers, and like many other parents in this place, I know how many expenses are involved in sending children to school. As they grow and progress through school, they require different pairs of shoes, sets of stationery, and money for school trips. State schools should represent a level playing field for children of all backgrounds, where pupils are treated with the same respect and given the same opportunities. I recognise that school uniform allows pupils to go into school with the same appearance and not be discriminated against or bullied for what they wear. However, school uniform is one of the biggest costs in sending children to school, and while I welcome the government's commitment to limiting the number of branded items students are required to have each year, I think that more needs to be done to support parents during the cost of living crisis when they're already facing higher energy bills and food costs. From my experience of sending my daughter to state school, branded school uniform items are being sold for an inflated price from monopoly suppliers compared to those items bought from high street shops and charity shops. This bill talks about restricting schools to 3 branded items of uniform, which, by the way, I don't read as excluding primary schools from letting kids wear ties, but anyway. The bare minimum of 3 branded items of a jumper, a polo shirt and a skirt for my daughter's school costs over double that than from a high street shop. For a family with 3 children to have 2 sets of 3 branded items per year costs over £300 compared to £108 from my local supermarket in Frome, nearly 3 times as much. This doesn't even account for a sports kit and shoes, or for the fact that children often require new items each year as they grow. There are also parts of my constituency of Frome and East Somerset which operate a 3-tier school system, meaning children move around 3 different schools with 3 different uniforms before they're 16. This can mean that parents have to adapt to 3 totally different uniforms, colours and requirements. We should aim to strike a balance between students looking smart and not making uniforms overly complicated and exclusive. The more simple the uniform, which is based on staple and easily available items and colours, the more reusable. We should foster an environment where school clothes can be easily handed down through families, regardless of gender, and exchanged between families, either through the school or through charity shops, instead of focusing on brand new items for each child. This also reduces clothing and textile waste. I would ask the Minister to consider, for example, why 3 items was chosen rather than perhaps 1, a school tie or jumper, which makes students easily identifiable as from a particular school, but which leaves maximum options for parents to buy the other uniform elements from other retailers. Or indeed, what other additional measures could be taken to keep down the cost of uniform. Kitting a child out for a new term at school is an expensive business, and anything the government can do to support parents in keeping these costs down would be most welcome.
Jake Richards.
Madam Deputy Speaker, this bill is an important moment. And for many decades, children's social care has been overlooked and afterthought for government. And over the last 30 years, politicians of all different colours have too often failed the most vulnerable children in this country, the children who are unable to be looked after by their own family. And I'm delighted that this Education Secretary and her team have put these children at the heart of this piece of legislation. It's a testament to her personal commitment to social justice and fairness. The statistics on outcomes for children in care and the risks of exploitation are well known. They represent 1% of the child population, but 37% of those in youth justice. Just 15% of those looked after children receive GCSEs from C to A star, compared to the national average of 55%. But, Madam Deputy Speaker, I want to focus on the child placement estate, which is a more dry topic. But if we do not provide sufficient and safe accommodation for these children, then the rest is frankly broadly redundant. And I have personal experience of this. Before being elected as an MP, I was a barrister, often working in child protection law, and many Friday afternoons would be spent in court seeking orders on an urgent basis for removal of children from their primary carer before the weekend. My work would be done upon judgment being given and my drafting of the order, but for my social work team, their work had only just started. They would have to collect the children, often relying upon the police to assist, And then often late in the evening, the arduous task of attempting to find suitable accommodation for these children would begin. Calls late into the night pleading with reluctant foster carers or residential units to take young people, who would often sit obediently at the local authority offices waiting for their fate to be decided. I have known of incidents whereby children slept on the floors of such offices while searches were being undertaken. It's a complete disgrace about the lack of sufficient accommodation in this country. And, Madam Deputy Speaker, the government cannot say that they were not warned about this. In 2022, the High Court sent a judgment, took the unusual step of sending a judgment to the relevant ministers, raising the issue about the lack of appropriate accommodation for such children. If I can just find my place in my speech.
Member gives way.
I'm very grateful.
Very grateful that the honourable member has given way. Does he agree with me that provisions in the bill for measures of children's homes would help with the problems that he's describing?
I'm very grateful to my honourable friend, and his review before being elected to this place raised some of the provisions which are now in this legislation. He should be praised for that review. Madam Deputy Speaker, the High Court, as I was saying, raised this issue in 2020, setting out, quote, the nationwide problem of demand outstripping supply and accommodation. The facts of that case show the human cost of a lack of investment and strategy. A 15-year-old girl from a family unable to care for her had been moved 14 different placements in 12 months. None were suitable. She had repeatedly fled unregulated accommodation units and was deemed to be a serious risk of self-harm and sexual exploitation. And Madam Deputy Speaker, those who raise the important issue of child sexual exploitation but have shown no interest in children's care services should hang their head in shame for trying to make political points of this very, very important issue. Now, this bill takes important steps in this regard, and my right honourable friend for Whitehaven and Workington has already raised the important introduction of regional cooperation, which will certainly add capacity. There is also, however, as has already been raised, the financial backdrop to this issue, and I no doubt that ministers will be making representations to the Chancellor about the estimated £6.2 billion funding gap for local authorities and social care. But, Madam Deputy Speaker, it's not just about money. Whilst capacity is undoubtedly required, the system also needs national and local leadership and a national and local strategy. There remains, despite this very welcome bill, a lack of a comprehensive and national plan for care placements. There is a lack of an overarching assessment of how this market will fulfil the functions necessary in the years and decades ahead. Bluntly, we will still not know what is needed
Yo, my bad. The reception cut out still, man. I know the mic sounds fucked up from the hold on 1 second. In one tree. Sound better now, will I? Oh, man. What a long day, eh? Lord. Yo, listen, Elon Musk gonna buy a no Liverpool, innit? Out of here, man. I'm gonna start supporting Arsenal if Elon Musk is buying me. What? Yeah, I'm definitely finished if Elon Musk buys Liverpool. Wallahi. Alright, but anyway, man. Say less, man, yeah. We're done for the day still. Yeah. You ain't gotta go home, but you gotta get the fuck up out of here. Let it play.
You make.
See you next time on the back here. See you next time. C-U-N-T. See